Hey everybody, welcome into the first week of the October Paladin Central Open Bracket for now tournament here, the Paladin Central Minor League. I'm definitely happy to be here with Hero, who's stepping in to help me out so I don't have to solo cast for the third week or so in a row. But Hero, how you feeling? How you feeling to be back on broadcast after what? What was
It's
the last time
been
Spanish Brawl Stars was the last time you were part
Spanish
of the
Brawl Stars
broadcast?
like almost a year and 2 months ago or something like that. I've never really done anything besides that, but it'll be fun. I know Paladins a lot more than I know Brawl Stars, so it'll be a lot more comfortable.
Are you sure, man? You were on the grind in that game for a
That's
while. I mean,
true, but then I also have to translate my noob thoughts into Spanish, and it was a little hard.
true, but I'm sure you'll be able to. I'm sure you'll more than handle
Uh,
yourself here today on this
a
as we
little
go
bit.
to game number 1 here. I'm assuming this is the one of the semifinal matchups here. EU5 heads versus Washed Up, and just looking at these rosters, like I recognize EU5 heads, a few of the players on it, but Washed Up, I literally do not know a single player on that team, but they've made it this far. They've managed to fight their way here, so they have to at least have a good grasp on the meta and what we expect to see here on map 1 on Brightmarsh.
Yeah, I know a couple of people from EU5 heads, and then watched up, like you said, just complete question mark. I guess this will be my first time seeing like the EU
Mhm.
tier 2 talent, seeing what they can bring.
Yeah, definitely expect to see them probably following the meta at least at this level. We could see something completely new too, if that's maybe what brought them at this level to be able to compete against EU5 heads, the team that won the last circuit. But I think expected bans to start things off. Eevee maybe less expected, but something we're seeing a little bit more. Genos and the Willow following. I'm starting to get a little bit worried about Pirate Ship.
Yeah, so it's either a pirate ship or something like a target ban because these players know each other, right? I'm not sure
Mhm.
what's going to happen here, but watch substandard bans, Vivian Genos. It's looking good so far.
Yeah, I think Vivian Genos, I totally expected there, and Inara, popular tank, of course.
Of course.
People are telling me that she apparently gets beaten by Barrick. That's the conversation I
Wait,
saw in the
that's a
PW
little crazy.
yesterday, but still valuable enough, at least in Europe, to be the first pick here with Barrick and Torvald kind of still behind over here in this region. But with a response of 2 picks here potentially, I mean, with what's left open, Corvus, I think some solid DPSs, but Victor's the way they're going to lean.
Yeah, Victor, definitely a good pick here. You lock yourself into that one of those like really strong hit scan DPSs, and with Corvus and the lifesteal, again, just really good combo there. Classic.
Yeah, the grand design stacking with the base lifesteal to keep
Mhm.
Corvus alive through a lot more damage as well, obviously. I think going to be really important for them. And Corvus also, the fact that they start with the Inara, not necessarily going to be the most aggressive draft as well. So this Corvus will be able to handle a little bit more pressure too, right? Not really going to get run down as much, but EU5 heads, they might be looking for something aggressive to fill in and actually put some more pressure onto that Corvus.
Yeah, so within our first pick, you're basically setting yourself up for anything you want. You can either go full dive with just an Anar sitting on point, or you can just play backline heavy and just play control. And with Ash
Mhm.
and Andro, I think they're going to look for a dive a little bit more.
Yeah, Andrew can kind of play both, though.
Of course.
Right. I mean, Andrew's not necessarily the most. He can get aggressive. He can dive. He can do that, of course, and follow up with the accursed arm. But he can also play that kind of poke game, medium range, and play the slow game as well. But Washed Up, they have a decent counter, I think, to that Ash with them picking up the Atlas. I think great against dive and not picked up enough for this specific purpose sometimes. And they've also kind of fallen into this
Marcus.
double off tank comp.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I've done Atlas before as main tick, and I've seen it a handful of times, but it's not really something that's super common. And I think in a 1v1 against Inara, you don't really win that. So you got to look for other plays most of the time.
Resilience helps a bit with it, and also
Yep.
Russian Chronos, I think, significantly powerful and underrated on Deja Vu Atlas. But the filling out here, Tyra and Grover, I'm assuming the leaning of Tyra for Vixar, something he's comfortable on, a full auto backline. And the Grover also not necessarily as highly prioritized in Europe as it is in North America, but they're willing to fall that way and Washed Up get their flanker to counteract
Okay.
and match into Ash and Andro.
Yeah, Grover going this late is definitely a little surprising to me, but I think overall EU5 heads has a good comp, and I like what Washup's ringing with the Atlas Ruckus for sure.
Yeah, it depends on how far the Ruckus and Ensign can really go. It is Brightmarsh though, so they can start on the lid. They can go into the back line and hopefully clean somebody up. But Tyra will withstand those dives pretty effectively. We can head into the game and take a look at how they're going to actually handle it here on Brightmarsh, map number 1, chosen by EU5 heads. I'm assuming talents, probably nothing too surprising here. It is going to be Mercy Kill. We see a little bit of flexibility there, but Nothing shocking. I just want to see how this team plays, how this washed up team plays, because I don't know how these players can be washed up when I haven't seen a single one of them before.
Yeah, maybe they're just washed up ranked players. But yeah, the Atlas running the big wall is going to be a big thing to watch out for. Most people I've seen run it with the Deja Vu talent, the lobbed rewind. But with this big wall on right marsh, you can probably just help your team out left side pretty easily.
It could split the dive, I think, a little bit more, and that's probably what they're looking for. I still do not like effectively main tank Atlas with the shield. I feel like he needs that sustain, but doesn't have it for now as they set up around each other. Early surround, and it doesn't look like Washed Up seem to know that Andrew's there.
Yoko's coming in with the shots on the Victor, but he hit him with the flick. Really good start for him so far.
Crazy shot to start from Yoiko, but it was traded out. Possible kind of misstepped, and Vixar will have to slow down them on the side. Surprising to see no one contesting at all, and are still finding this cap time, but Ruckus dives in with Zin. Catches out nobody though, and Adam will work with that and want to see if they can burn down the point as Atlas tries to survive.
Atlas with those TDs there, as soon as you use the wall as main tank Atlas when you're running that talent, you're pretty much a sitting duck. You're just going to get looked at by Tyra, get marked, and you're dead. It's super hard to play effectively, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of damage onto the Atlas that'll make things difficult. And EU5 heads moving in effectively uncontested there. Quick damage there onto the right from Pasiwa. I like this aggressive positioning that they have with Shaolin on this Inara taking even more ground. But dive trying to happen. He's 1 for 1, but the kills are still going EU5 heads way.
Decent trade now that Victor here is helping out with the return fire. The Tyra's getting a lot more value than I thought she would, honestly. I think it's just because of how the tanks are forced to play into this comp. But so far, it's looking pretty good for EU5 heads.
Yeah, I think they're definitely playing around the Tyra pretty well. In general, I think she's just underrated as the backline on a map like this, right? Sometimes you'd want her on the close maps over Victor, maybe, but especially next patch at the very least. But Whirlwind keep them going in this fight for now as Ruckus rooted in the backline and torn apart, but just a 1-for-1 DPS for DPS. And I don't think Washed Up are in a good position. Here comes the seismic crash right now. Dive by Yoinko. Doesn't follow up on it. But finally, maybe finds it.
Maybe a little misplay there. Probably could have had both kills if you just go for the Corvus first. But either way, it looks like Washed Up was able to hold that somehow. They used Zenol on a DPS, I believe, but it worked.
Yeah, I mean, Yoinko didn't finish off. He got 2 people really low and then had to choose one to kill instead of finishing one and dueling the other. So unable to get all the kills they need with the support managing to stay alive. But he does find another here, and Gadet kind of just walks into his own death as Yoinko is just running rampant here. I'm not sure how he came around the side. I'm assuming on high ground above tree, but Washed Up, they just don't seem to have a lot of map control. I feel like they're constantly stacking on one side of the map and letting Yoinko kind of run rampant.
Yeah, Yoinko has kind of just been able to do whatever he wants this game on the Andrew. It's a little crazy, and then also I feel like the Atlas was a little caught out there, which led to, you know, a snowball effect of getting staggered, and their Grover finds Victor. It's looking like a push for EU5 heads if they play it well.
Yeah, and they already have the second kill, so definitely playing it well for now. And I feel like this Ruckus is really just kind of alone on an island every single time he tries to dive in, constantly just... I never see him with the Zin moving in. Zin seems to be kind of just distracted on Yoinko, an uneventful push here near the end as EU5 heads managed to convert in an admin. Vine teching up to spawn just for fun. Might as well at that point. Great play though so far by EU5 heads. I think they're finding the weakness in Washed Up and abusing it well, but the comp that they have, the chance to dive, the chance to go in, maybe use the guillotine, maybe dive in deep with the Ruckus, they can turn it around. They just have to find a way to execute.
Yeah, I think coordination with these and Ruckus dive needs to be more on point at this point fight if you want to get something done. Probably a little bit more pressure on the Inara. She was able to just get 60% for free last time. I mean, even if you go like 1-for-1 and the Inara has 60%, you're kind of in a losing spot after that. You need to be able to pressure her off or just do something to counter that. Yeah,
do you think maybe just like playing way slower and saving Ruckus dive just for once they've already committed into you?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, definitely. It wouldn't make sense here, but the guillotine immediately, they just get gifted a kill. My Pasuo, no one there to help turn that Zin kill around.
But now the Inara is
full divide. Yeah, they're not fighting her at all, 30%. And climbing in the accursed arm makes it even harder, but it's just fighting them off. Finally, it looks like Kofigs, aka CEO of Shaolin, will fall. And EU5 is now in a bad position, and they're going to keep snowballing.
Yeah, with comeback mechanic and Atlas rewind, hopefully they don't mess the zone up, and they should be able to get this point. So that was pretty well played overall.
Yeah, definitely, I think a good look by them, pushing off aggressively once they got that guillotine kill to initiate things. But I like this Exile here as they do this. Look at this, actually. Look at this Hexifier slowing them down even further. And the Exile stopped both tanks, neither of them make it in. And Gadet walks away with 36
actually almost
health.
traded his life for that. But he gets away, they get the point, and they're looking pretty good if they can win this fight and not get staggered out here on defense and get spawn camped. It's looking like Inara is gonna have to get out of that.
Yeah, they've got to keep themselves alive, I think, here, the way that they position this. They're playing safe now, but this Victor walking in, not taking too much damage and forcing the Grover away. They still have this position, but they're not looking at this window. No one's covering it, and they're all so low they can get rolled over here, and they will with this aggressive dive.
Yeah, they all kind of just got poked down to 1 HP, and that wall just delayed the inevitable. But overall, not much you can do there from EU5 heads. You played your best on the forward defense there. Oh, actually going to Ash ult that. Okay.
I mean,
and
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it. It would have been a big stagger, but now Grover's on the ground in a bad spot. Ooh, and he dies with the guillotine slash.
I don't think Admin maybe needs to walk up for that. Just play the poke game at that point, right? Just to get some support that way, but he wants to follow up in it and lets Neelan get 2 kills here as they sit and control the roll, continuing to go forward. But as they do this, on this defense, how would you feel about their comp? I feel like they don't have a ton of poke. How aggressive do they have to be on the side of EU5 heads to hold this?
I think EU5 heads can play a little bit more passive. They don't have to go super aggressive. With the pressure of the Tyra and the Grover, with like Andro, Yoinko just going around the back and finding kills, I think that's all they need. I don't think they really have to do anything crazy here to hold.
Yeah, especially now with the initial kills that they got. But I think it's about breaking through at the very start to make it work. His dad body, very, I do like that Dave comes in and dies on his flank there. But finally, if I look a little bit more in control, I think they need to play tight to each other for the way this comp works, right? With the CC and the Tyra, they need to play this little deathball style. Yeah,
they need to be able to play to capitalize off Tyra marks and fire just the zone control that Tyra brings you, and then have Yoinko just do his thing, find the low HP targets there.
Yeah, if they can play tight enough to each other, it could function that way here as they get bullied. Great angle taken by this Victor, actually, to force them back as they look for this engagement initially here. But early damage, actually, somehow the Xin gets killed by the Inara, and they're just letting themselves get surrounded again.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of, it was looking really good for Washed Up. Like, Victor had the angles, and then just too much damage on the side of EU5 heads. They were just whittled down and just died.
Yeah, them being able to play into each other. I also think the Xin maybe stalled a little bit too long. I think he stayed still in that doorway, and it was very, very easy to kill there. But a lot of ultimates here. How would you see, if you're washed up and you're sitting here, you have comeback, you're ignoring the point. How do you engage with your ults to guarantee yourself a win on this mid fight?
I think you need to look for something on the Tyra and then easily immediately transition that to using good ults onto the Inara and then play it like you did last time. Just win the point off that. But it's going to be pretty hard because EU5 heads wants to force like a fight into you, right? Like they're going to have Ash ult, they're going to have an Inara ult for apps if they want to do it that way. It's going to be interesting to see how they play it this time and how they use their ults.
Yeah. Also to see how Passio, I think, looks at it, maybe if he's the one who goes in and spends that ultimate earlier, if he waits out the guillotine, which took him down last time. But same positioning at the start. Looks like Xin looking for the same thing and finds it again. Passio killed on the far right side.
So starting off the same way, they find Tyra. That's 3 kills for red team. It's looking like the same thing. Now it's just about the zone, whether or not you have everyone live there and don't throw it. But Yoinko finds Happy in the back. That's a pretty good kill.
Yeah, and he's also delaying this Victor here quite a bit of time. Yoinko, point back a cursed arm. Will it work? It will. He trades that kill.
And he might be able to spawn camp Corvus?
He might. I'm not sure. Let's see if he decides to go that way or go to fight the point. But he doesn't maybe need to. He'll just come back and at least catch the Atlas on the way out here. One more kill, maybe cleaned up. Second chance gets spent. But this is a terrible stagger, I think, for both of these players. Now they have to go get this retake, basically 3v5.
That was a big play for Yoinko, being able to get that Corvus kill and then 1v1ing the Victor there, and then just like making the Corvus scared of a possible spawn camp while your Passua comes back and fights on point. They saw his ult, by the way.
Yeah, they spent some ults in the far back, but no one's able to make it in. And EU5 heads are going to be the one who walk away with that. I think solid play by them by the end, even with a bit of a disadvantage that they had to play off of with those early executes both times. Maybe not adapting fast enough to the Xin, but the fact that Yoinko said, all right, well, we lost one. I'm just going to at least run into the back and trade something out. He manages to even things out and make it a little bit easier.
Yeah, I mean that trade on the actual, you kind of expect that sometimes. You say, I'm not gonna ult at first, I'm just gonna eat the Zen ult and then respawn.
Mhm.
Sometimes you kind of just have to play for that and hope your team does their best to live or find a low HP target somewhere, and Yoko did exactly that.
Yeah, definitely great play on that Androxus. I think 14-6 for him, 10-5 for Vixar too. So a combined 24-11 for these DPS. I think a solid showing by them to clean up on the space that was being made by the tanks, and also just play well into the DPS. I gotta say though, tough game for that Ruckus. The Gadet on this Ruckus, hard game for him. His dives maybe not as in sync with the Zin as they should have been. Uh, it is how you have to play him, but I still felt like even those deaths, he wasn't making as much space as you'd want a Ruckus to do.
Yeah, and also Ruckus into that comp is definitely a little hard. Grover, Tyra, just Mark, and then all the damage from Yonko and the Tyra as well. It's super hard to just properly dive that, especially when you're not in sync with your Zen, right?
Yeah, I mean, even some aggression from the Atlas, or even a shield, but I felt like the Atlas was using it for himself a lot of the time instead of trying to split the team in half. But the damage stats, I think, to surprising no one, in favor of the controller hit scan backline on the side of EU 5 heads. But the Victor was close, and I'm hearing that he's PC, so
Oh.
impressive game from him, maybe showing why Victor is expected to be getting those nerfs next patch to lose 20 damage there. But map 1 EU 5 heads, I think, to the surprise of probably nobody, but map number 2, we're going to see Washed Up play on something they might be more comfortable on, a different map. Obviously, now it's their choice after EU5 heads getting the first one. And do you think they looked uncomfortable on that map at all? Or do you think they just looked outclassed by EU5 heads?
I think it was a mix of both. They definitely didn't do they didn't play the Bright Marsh that well, and I think you could have just had like separate playstyle for the Atlas main tank. So I think if they bring that strat onto a different map that they've practiced more, maybe they'd do better.
Yeah, we'll see if those strategies can pay off on whatever map we go to next as we head into the picks and bans for map number 2 here, which will be Stone Keep. So I actually like Solo Tank Atlas on Stone Keep, or Main Tank Atlas in specific on Stone Keep. I just don't like it with Big Shield. I also just generally don't like Big Shield Atlas anyway, but that's just a preference on my side. I think is is that why you left Project? Because if G Bunny wouldn't stop running Big Shield Atlas.
I respect the Big Shield as an off tank, but as a main tank player, I definitely don't want to have a Big Shield out. I don't want to die as soon as I use the shield, right? So
yeah,
maybe.
definitely not the main tank style of Atlas play for sure. But Vivian and Corvus picked up here, and Inara and Genos both banned on the other side. So I think all high tier characters banned, but Victor getting through here could be prioritized by them if they want to target Vixar a little bit on the other side. But we've seen Vixar play a couple different flexible picks here, but they're still going to target them. They just don't want to deal with those full auto backlands, want to make their Victor player a little bit more comfortable in EU5 heads now, though. They have kind of the pick of the litter for tanks and supports.
Yeah, I expect maybe a Terminus pick here. It is Stone Keep, and Terminus is really strong in Keep. With an Aura band especially, I'd be surprised if EU5 heads doesn't pick Terminus, but with the Ash pick, I'm actually not sure if they're going to get both tanks this rotation.
They could go for the main tank and the off tank if they really prioritize it enough. Terminus does get banned a lot in EU, but hey, Ash and Droxus again, worked for them last time, might as well have it on a map where it's also, I think, decently effective. Andro being able to flank over the hedge, or at least just engage from any door on the side. But Washed Up, I mean, main tank and support here, right? Just so you can take some flexibility away from EU5 heads.
Yeah, and then with the Dama, the term is especially fun to play. So hopefully they get the term here. If they don't, I'm actually really surprised at how far he's fallen in the draft rotation here. But yeah, there he is. Term Dama. Very fun combo to play as.
Yeah, the aggression of the term can be nice when you get that little bit of a speed boost. And I'm so sorry. I just saw an emote pop up in a Discord right next to me of me being pet with a bald head. It is just completely thrown me off. But Ash and Androxus now, how are they going to fill in the rest of this? Probably Shaolin actually. Is this going to be Desert Silence to try to kill the Terminus? We see that happen sometimes.
That'd be pretty annoying to play against, so maybe.
Maybe. Well, we see Fisher go play, but he's really the only one that pulls it out. But maybe that's just an EU mindset getting brought out. And Ruckus again, I mean, not by the same team, but we'll see if the aggression can work for EU5 heads.
Yeah, this time EU5 heads is on with the double off tank kind of aggro comp. So on this map, I don't like it that much. I like just having a main tank and just chilling on point. But we'll see how it works out for them. I mean, they are really good tanks. So
yeah, for sure. Ash Ruckus, I can get really aggressive. Interesting on this though, triple DPS makes his life definitely a little bit harder for the Ruckus, I think, if he doesn't land on someone immediately, right? If he doesn't land right on someone's head, he's gonna get shot by a Cassia, Canessa, and a Victor. It's gonna be very, very painful. And Fury to end it's an aggressive comp. Do you think it can work into a washed up have drafted?
I think it'll work just because you can abuse the Terminus, and if you do your best to not, like you said, not die to the Cassie-kin as Ruckus, I think it'll work out really well for EU5 heads if they play it right.
Yeah, I think the aggression can work out. It's about synergy, and we know EU5 heads have it from previous weeks, and we can head right into game number 2 here on Stone Keep. Washed Up's pick. They ended up with the triple DPS composition that they should be comfortable with, but EU5 heads have pretty much, I'd say, high-tier picks in the European metagame. We'll see how that pays off for them. We do have a little roster switch up, though, between these rounds. Admin Mandem out and Scouron in. Admin had to go do his own thing, but Scouron should be more than good enough to fill it up. And what sides do you want these teams to be playing on these mids?
I think the red team definitely has to go Church, and I think Washed Up wants Keep, so we'll see how they play around that. They shouldn't meet head-to-head at the start here, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see right now, but they are actually even surprising to see them playing on this side. Terminus swinging instead of siphoning at the very start of the fight, so maybe some damage they didn't need to take, but full charges as they disengage, all playing right behind that Ash shield, and all that damage is just getting absorbed in those backlines, not finding anything else, but Yoinko wins that duel on the far side as they take this, and Ash is already in the middle of pinstering them. Potential early damage goes onto Nealon, as Deadbody has to run away, but Canessa trades 2 right now, and it's 3 versus 3 here in the banana.
Yeah, Cusick was doing his best to keep it even, but overall, EU5 heads came out on top. I don't know how he was getting those spawn kills there, and he was able to kill Furia, but yeah, overall, EU5 is looking in a better spot because they're on point now.
Yeah, now that they finally get that cam time, they also clean up another kill onto the Canessa, who is in Garden for some reason. Not exactly sure why she ended up over there,
yeah,
but behind them. I didn't realize what side of the map that was, but as they hold here looking for the refight, they're taking a high ground, but still letting this cap time fall away.
Yeah, Yoinko right now, he's on lookout for the Canessa respawn, and I think here in a couple seconds, he gets the cast kill, and now he's gonna... Ooh, actually, this is looking good for Washed Up, actually.
Yeah, getting that first pick is a big deal, I think, as Washed Up tries to live on point, but Terminus to complete this around, and we know that's his biggest weakness, but finally Canessa respawns and manages to cover him with early damage from on top. They lose their healer, so they have to make this fight happen without any sustain, and Vixar doesn't need sustain to kill this Canessa as they maintain point control.
Yeah, Washed Up just lost too many members there, but it was a really good play from the Canessa to go to their spawn again. It's just not enough damage by himself to finish that off and win the fight.
Yeah, not enough to work here as they got a quick little trade from Nealon onto Yoinko. Hite's used just to keep things, I think, guaranteed here at the end. Washed Up, though. That trade, they can't be too happy about it with the timing because the respawns are going to be back a little bit faster for them. Immediate death, though. Canessa does quite a bit of damage. And now EU5 heads have to figure out another way to approach this. And I don't know how they make it in with 3 backlines on the other side.
Yeah, they also use Assert Dominance at the tail end of that point fight as well. So it's basically going to be looking like this for another minute, I assume, until they get an Ashwell and maybe try to convert. It's going to be super hard, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could see that maybe if they could engage that way. They have to spend quite a few ultimates, but it's just going to be so hard to get in, right, as they do this. But if they can keep finding people isolated like this with Ruckus, it can work. But again, Ruckus just can't win these fights. With a massive ultimate there, I can't believe that stun didn't get any more follow-up. Yoinko manages to do it himself with all those kills. Hexafire just a little bit too short. Earthstorm to find even more. Does get happy. Yoinko with his 4th kill of this fight. Could be 5 here. Pentakill. Unofficially for Yoinko. What a cleanup by EU5 heads. We're just saying how hard it's going to be. And then they just completely mop the floor with them.
I mean, that was great execution from Ruckus and Yoinko there. Through a fear as well. I mean, nothing more to say there. That was just really good.
What even was that big stun? It wasn't Ash. Was that a beam?
I think it might. Yeah, it was a beam.
Was that one we were just saying, oh, I hope Scouron will fill in well for admin, but okay, I guess I'll just get a triple beam stun on everybody chasing out my Ruckus. But EU5 heads have such a good comp for this defensively that they're going to be able to stabilize and force EU5 heads out. EU% heads, actually. Excuse me, I didn't even notice.
Percent heads. They've only grown in power with Scouron. But yeah, I mean, double backline just came back, and it's just super hard to push that. But cards past the arch. One more pick, maybe they'll go for the win here for Ariel.
Yeah, I could see an Inflame being spent because it is easy to use, and actually, well, they don't even need to use it with Yoinko coming up from the side, cleaning up 2 of the most important backlines and being gifted an escape by the disengage.
Yeah, I mean, perfect for Yoinko there. Can't ask for a better situation. Gets the kills and get to go back to spawn. And it's looking like that's it. Good
Yeah,
plays over there.
EU percent heads. Team of the century rolling in that card here. 2-0 so far for them in this. And Yoinko, again, this Ash Androxus, I get why it's a good pick, right? You know, Ash Andro, it's going to be good, but when you get this much value out of it, I definitely see how valuable it is for EU 5 heads. Yoinko has looked almost unstoppable on it, and he washed up. They have a lot of ultimates to slow it down, but what is the I think direction for how they spend this?
I mean, I think your goal here should be to try to win keep more decisively, because they have the turn, but it feels like they were just on the back foot that entire time, even though it was like a 4v4. So I think just maybe try to force the issue a little bit more. Use your ults here, use your Victor ult to get the CDs out, maybe get some kills there.
Yeah, because Victor ult charges so fast, right? You could just spend that early and not be too concerned about just burning cooldowns with it. But a dive early from this Ruckus and from Yoinko, just two separate sides of the map are kind of sending washed up reeling. Sir Dominance doesn't find anything else, and they spend the reanimates. They've gotten a lot out right now, but the advantage so far is to washed up.
Yeah, that was a good play from Washed Up. But I was a little worried when the turn was left alone, but he ulted and now he's back in the fight. And it looks like they're coming out on top.
Maybe they have Possible controlling this objective with Ruckus running away from the Terminus, but cap time is still in favor of the U5 heads, and Possible might escape here, even with the barrage spent for just 1,200 damage with him rotating again. They have the respawns because of how early they died as Kofix and Yoinko push this far right side with them all stacked up in this one position. The rest of them run away, but they don't have cap time, and with double comeback, they need to figure that out fast.
1-for-1. It all comes down to how good these DPS players on the side of Washed Up play right now. They find happy, so it's going to be pretty hard for them to get away with much here. I think they just have to play for retake, wait for Cassie and Dom to come back up.
Yeah, I don't know if they can do that though, especially if U5
Good
heads
pick.
stay aggressive enough, right? But look at the
Shaw's
Terminus
caught.
actually. They might kill Shaw here, and they do. The Kinessa finds it. Kinessa might have to blink in though. Terminus just barely making it to point in time, but Yoinko finds one. Kinessa cleans up a third.
Yeah, that was a good play from Terminus, realizing I gotta hold W, I gotta go to point, do my best to avoid the fight, and his team found the kills they needed. It should be theirs. Unless Yoinko comes up big here.
It could be a hero fight
on
with the
point.
Aggressive Arm. Wait, they have the OT right now with Terminus trying to siphon. He's going to buy a ton of time, as Terminus is one to do, of course, but Yoinko, if he can clean up this Victor, maybe it's doable, but they just abandon the point during it. Ruckus can't stay on there, and Terminus will steal it away from the core of their team, but Ruckus still alive. Use the emitter to live for another moment, but Terminus is just buying so much time. Yoinko trying to find a miracle.
Yeah, too little too late there, but A for effort from Yoinko. I mean, he didn't stop fighting until the end. Now you get to hopefully swan camp for a little bit. Have a close fight here.
Yeah, they're going to try to just farm up those credits as they hold forward here. Passio playing with that Andro as well, but they have the Terminus to peel for their team, but they don't realize, they don't know this Cassie's here. They finally rotate away, but they have to disengage for this great flank, I think, by Neelan. And Flame, though, comes in and might just get them 1 or 2 kills here with a great collapse from Vixar and Yoinko.
Yeah, Vixar and Yoinko there. Cassie's kind of just doing her own thing on the right side. You get the Fury ult, and then Vixar was just able to kill Cassie with a little help from Yoinko. Pretty good play. Good use of Fury ult, I think.
Yeah, that verticality, I think, is a really big deal for how they're diving this too. The fact that they came into the middle of their team from up top, but we'll take a look at this dive right now. They make it through. They find the first pick on Yoinko, and Dadbody is pushing them back quite a bit here. But high ground being controlled by them. 5 heads realize that they're down, so they manage to disengage and just make some space between them and the other team. Neelan's trying to keep this aggression up. But this dive here potentially could come in right now, but Cass is playing real safe.
Yeah, EU5 heads is kind of in a rough spot here. They're going to have to try to go for a sloppy dive on the cart, but it could be worse. But it's looking like Washed Up was prepared for it, 1-for-1 so far. But CEO of Shaolin was actually able to get pretty good positioning towards the tail end of that fight, so not that bad anymore.
Yeah, banana control is so important, I think, right?
Yeah.
During this, when you have that area being held by the back lines, especially right now. But I mean, look at this stagger. I think this is you want to just buy as much time on the defense as possible, and I think the U5 heads are doing a great job of that.
Yeah, I mean, you want a sloppy dive, you go back in, you hold them, like the cart's basically moved like 2 feet from the starting point, you're still getting kills. It's looking really good so far.
Yeah, and I think they're dealing with the Kinessa well too, which is difficult, but they're actually kind of giving some credits and other things here to Washed Up as this fight goes on. Cassie should fall with both of them diving onto her, but this retake coming in, they will be able to contest this and force an overtime, but this triple DPS is going to have a hard time, I think, breaking through this final choke.
Yeah, I mean, this is only better for E5 heads in my opinion, because Ruckus used his ult to clean up that fight, and now he's able to have a whole another OT push to farm that. Maybe he can get 70%, depending on how the fight goes. Hopefully, as long as you don't lose, you come out on top.
Yeah, we'll see if they keep this fight extended. They don't... I don't even know if they want to, though, because of ultimates, right? They have quite a bit here going in, and they're already getting pressured a little bit. They don't want to give them too much time to charge their ults, but they've already lost Gadet in the back. A good dive by Yoinko. They still trade it 1-for-1, but Dadbody can't live forever on this objective. This Terminus is already running low on Siphon, and Kofix is putting all the pressure.
Yeah, I mean, just good dive from Yoinko, gets the 1-for-1, and then Ash is making big space and fire as well. Overall, well played. Now it's 4 ults versus 5. They don't have Ruckus, but they don't need the Ruckus ult. They have pretty good ults for keep, regardless. And then Term Siphon kind of negates that a lot of the time as well.
They'll charge the ult pretty quick, too,
Yep.
right? So it's only 34%. Ruckus will get that in the blink of an eye, honestly. But I think if they... It's so hard to do it without... You have to kill Dadbody first. Right, because if you go in with that Hexafire, it'll just get siphoned on. How do you think U5 heads, how did they get onto the Kinessa if the Cassie's playing with her? Is it just dive and accept a trade, or is there, you think, a way to maybe pressure this Kin a little bit easier?
I think you accept the trade, unless like Yoinko's pressure can just force out of the fight completely, but I think a trade would be pretty fine as well.
Yeah, that could be totally fine for them, just getting rid of that Kinessa here, but they're sitting up top here. Yoinko, actually, look at that. I think that might be an Accursed Arm coming in from the Andrew. He's right above them, trying to find some damage, but it just disengages them as the Assert Dominance comes in as well. Dadbody just wants to slow them down, but Yoinko is above and ready to flank here. Slowed down, though, by the Terminus, actually. Great rotation by Dadbody, but Yoinko is just beating him around, buying so much time for his team.
Yeah, that was a good play to kill Yoinko there with the Term Siphon, but I think it's with the Ruckus kill, actually, they do have a chance here. That was a good kill. 29 HP on Gadet. Really good. Really good job.
Yeah, him barely staying alive is going to make this a little bit tougher for EU5 heads, because they're not even capping that. They're I think smart in giving up the point for now, but I don't know how I feel about Pasivo being so isolated, because look at this, they're going to dive and multi DPS on him. Ash can only buy so much time, but Vixar will make up for it with his Hexafire, finds one and gets the Kinessa 2 and tries to follow up a third kill for U5 heads, and Washed Up sent reeling.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful use of the Hexafire off respawn, not turn past all here, but that's the turn. And it should be game. Really great use of the Ruckus ult.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hexafire, I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel like it's one of the harder ultimates to really make work at this level, because people just know how to deal with it, they know how to run away from you. Actually setting it up so difficult, but a great use of it there by EU% heads in this to move themselves forward into the finals of this week, where they're going to be playing up against Rosvet, I believe. A team with a slightly different roster, definitely some star power there, but we can take a look at the stats for this game first and see exactly how the numbers look, how Washed Up managed to perform against these defending champions that came in from the last week.
Yep.
Take a look at these right now. It looks like KDs in general. Kinessa, the only one decently positive for Washed Up. Gadet dead even, but Nessa did a solid job keeping up there. Vixar, though, 13-9, and Yoinko 19-10. They're the standouts here, and Vixar really made me realize, put on a performance that I think was worthy of all the bans that Ruckus has been getting in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, this is my first time personally, like, really watching these games, and I can see why Ruckus gets banned if that's the case here in Europe. I mean, Vixar played it really well. You abused the term super well. You split his attention, was able to get massive Hexafire value on multiple occasions, and then just overall played really well with Yoinko as well. So great stuff.
Yeah, I'd agree, and it's happening in EU PPC too, and we see it do well there, but I think still good job by them making it work here. Damage-wise, though, pretty heavily skewed in favor of Washed Up, but against two tanks, one of them being a Ruckus, I think not too surprising, seeing those damage stats being climbing up there for them. But Washed Up, I think, not the worst performance by them, being their first time I've seen literally any of those players here, but EU5 heads, as we said, they will move on to the finals of week 1 of the European bracket here in the October Paladin Central Minor League. We'll have that for you right on the other side of this break. Welcome back into the Paladin Central Minor League. Still me and Hero here on the call for you, discussing what we're going to be seeing here today in the end of the first week here. The finals, though, lined up. EU5 Heads team we just watched play against Washed Up, now going to go against Rosved, a team that we've seen in different kind of iterations. We've seen this Born in Hell. We've seen them take the name, drop it again. But now we have, they're back with this name, and they have some roster changes. So I'll break down the roster for you guys. Phobuz, Ethereal, King Nick, Zarini, and Simsalu. So, I mean, there's some names on that are probably surprising. What are you expecting from this roster here, just knowing the names on it?
I mean, really good names, a really good team name. Like, everyone knows Rasa, everyone knows Zarini, Simsalu. Obviously, Phobuz is kind of up there as well. So I'm really excited to see how Simsalu does coming back into the game, coming back into the competitive scene. And I mean, Zarini, we've seen him pretty much all year on different teams, always really solid main tank. So I'm really excited to see what Rosved pulls out with this new roster.
Yes, I mean, we know Simsalu might also have, if he picked up the meta quick, he might have that draft mind that brought Knights to their dubs before, and we'll be able to see that in action here in the picks and bans for map number 1 in this finals matchup here in EU. It'd be Jaguar Falls, chosen by EU5 Heads to start things off. And I will say, I am kind of laughing you mentioning, Rosved, a name everyone knows. Like, I wonder how many people know it as Pack Bet.
Yeah.
And how many people know it as Rosved, the Cyrillic way of it. But EU5 Heads early ban on Terminus might be targeted, but Inara in response in point tanks already going to be the priorities for both of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, the Terminus ban makes sense against Zarini, and then I like Rosved trading it because Zarini can play any main tank in the game really well. So it'll be up to EU5 Heads as a main tank to see how well he does on the off-meta pick here with Atlas ban now as well.
And the Yoinko target as well from Rosved. So EU5 Heads now, if we're going by their priority we've seen, is it Ashe? Is it Genos? One of those two, I think, would be the fill-in, just judging by what's been banned in the last set that they played versus Washed Up. But it'll be Corvus, bypassing both of them to have one of the better pocket sustain healers in the meta right now. Yeah,
solid pick, especially if EU5 Heads is going to go for something like a Victor again, just play backline with like a little bit of mix. Lifesteal, really good. And it also helps out your main tank as well. If it's like a Barrack, I like personally Corvus Barrack, and then Corvus Barrack Genos as well, if you want to go that route.
I mean, Corvus Genos, anything. Fill in the blank. I don't care if it's Torvald solo tank. It's going to still be a strong composition because you'll enable your DPS there. But Shaolin and Maeve to pick up Spyrosved, I'm assuming that's going to be, I don't know, I guess Simsi Maeve. I don't know if I expect to see Simsi Shaolin. I feel like that's just something I've never really seen. But early DPS priority, and Corvus Genos Vivian, okay.
Yeah.
Rough to give up this early in the draft, especially on a map like Jag.
Yeah, rough to give up. Maybe Simsil is still, trying to get his bearings in the same meta. Maybe they're trying stuff out, but Corvus Genos Vivian with main tank, it's looking like a really solid comp here so far from EU5 Heads. We'll have to see what Rosved pulls out here. I like the Ashe pick with the Maeve, but I still like EU5 Heads comp overall a lot more.
Yeah, the aggression made there from the Ashe and Grover could be the Ashe and the Maeve, followed up by the Grover healing could be interesting. We'll see how it goes there. Cassie to fill in the 4th pick rotation here will be decent into the Maeve, with the Scout to catch out the Midnight as they get aggressive. They can kind of deny that there, but the last pick is going to be what matters the most, the tank, and it will be Fernando. So I think I like it into them. I wanted to look at their draft really quick before I decided, but I don't think it's bad. I think you can block the Ashe. They don't really have a way to knock your shield down. It's just going to be Shaw and Victor, and that's generally going to be enough time for them to be able to get away from it.
Yeah, I like the Nando pick. I would have liked the Barrack more, but I mean, it's solo tank for solo tank Nando versus solo tank Ashe. I think the Nando comes out ahead, but overall, I like both comps here.
Agreed. I think both tanks have great ultimates. We're going to be very impactful if they can use it in the right places, but we'll head into the game to see where those right places will be, depending on how these teams match up directly into each other as we look at these drafts. Who is playing what? Phobuz. I am a little Zarini support. Okay, that's not something I expected, really, but maybe a little role swap for the boy here as Simsalu is playing his Maeve as expected. And some change-ups maybe on the other side as well. Scouron also the main support from the last game switching to tank as well. Pastiwo, the tank where you usually see on support. I think it might just be because of the fact that he's subbing in for
Yep.
admin, but either way, two fairly evenly, I think, even teams here, but the double pocket still got me scared.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think, I mean, Navy's already being on support is just a comfortability thing. I personally wouldn't really like playing solo tank Big Shield Ash, but I don't know if I play Grover. My team would allow me to play Grover into that, but maybe he's another Grover.
You can see Grover still has a lot of value here, but the entirety of EU5 heads moving as one unit inside of Dark right now, but surrounded by Simsi. They have to be pretty careful this potential collapse. But look at this, no blood drawn really just yet. Them managed to move on to the objective. Rosvet just giving up a lot of space and relying purely on this big shield. They have no way to break through though, and finally though, 1v1 happens on the left side as they go trade into each other, but no one willing to follow up, and now maybe the collapse comes in from the Ashe.
Yeah, I mean, Simpson was kind of just a thorn in their side, just bringing down their HP, and it looks like it worked out so far. He was able to escape with 1 HP. So far, it looks like it's resetting though, no kills on each side.
Yeah, and the Vivian actually just siphons life off of that Corvus to stay alive here with just poke happening back and forth. There's got to be engagement sometime soon, especially with Simsi spending his prowl here, but Simsi just died. He's not used to Vivian, I guess. And now EU5 heads should be willing to collapse here. Nando on the point with Vivian trying to pressure, but they end up trading kill the other way for it. Vixar might be slightly overextended with Ethereal trying to go in, but he can't make it. And now the rest of Rosvet might just collapse.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you get a kill there, you kind of have to force the issue. And, I mean, EU5 did exactly that. Came out with the point, played really well on the Nando shield, and able to force Ashe off, not even get an OT.
They used the Whirlwind just to stay alive, I think, trying to save Phobos, but couldn't make it happen as Vivian now sitting on the cart with the Nando, just to get this slow push rolling forward. But they have to be careful, but they managed to avoid the barrage. The barrage by the Victor doesn't find anything as they keep this cart rolling forward here, but they gotta be careful. This Nando taking quite a bit of poke. I think into the next Tropic as Kofigs just lets himself die.
Yeah, I mean, you probably thought the DR would help him, but with Victor Grover shooting at you, it's a little bit too much.
A lot of damage coming in from both that double poke as they try to snowball forward here. I think the rest of them will collapse. And how do you see EU5 heads once they manage to reset themselves, of course? How do you see them collecting the push into this? Because I feel like the Grover poke, the Victor poke, the shop, there's just so much they have to walk through, and only a Nando shield really to enable them to do it.
Yeah, I don't really see much of an option here for them, because like you don't have a strong face push. You kind of just have to hope and find a pick here, like that. But King Nick was able to.
But hopefully better.
Yeah, hopefully better next time. But you know, you try.
Look at that, they spend this ultimate too really forward, and this is actually great for Rosvet on this defense with that Assert Dominance being spent. Simsalute out for the hunt here using that prowl. All the damage goes into Kofigs on this Corvus, and they're going to go a little bit even more forward. With 55 seconds left, this is about the time you want to be in their spawn, because by the time they kill you, it's going to be probably 20 seconds left. They're going to be just barely making it to the objective, and all you don't have to win at that point is one fight to cement your feet for this defense. But EU5 heads, I don't think they're going to be willing to spend anything, but they're already kind of low on ultimates as they are now.
Yeah, interesting choice. I guess they don't want to give Ashe Victor ult, so they're just going to elect to stay in spawn for the rest of the 30 seconds. Unless that changes their mind, but I don't think it should. I mean, okay. I don't know how King Nick died, but good kill from Yonko. Got a little bit of credits for himself.
I think he got disengaged off the map, would be my guess, from being on that cliff side. But this is something that every time I've ever done this, my team has lost.
Really?
So it's so hard for me to be like excited about them playing this slow play as they jump off the map to end their streaks. Really smart by Rosvet, I think, actually, just denying any bonus things. But EU5 heads, guess what ults they denied? Nothing that mattered. What ults did they really get rid of? Entropic Corvus ult, Vivian ult? Who, honestly, Hero, who cares?
Yeah, that's true. I think Ethereal aren't getting an Ashe ult though. Pretty big for this next mid, depending on how they play. They can actually just take a fight in Jag and Dark and not have that fear of just getting Ashe ulted. But there's still Grover root. There's still a Mabel. There's a Maven Shaw ult, which Cassio can only counter one. So gonna have to see who deals with that, which one gets dealt with. But overall, I mean, EU5 heads only down two ults that really matter.
I think the Ashe ult should charge at least decently quickly, assuming he's able to get aggressive enough. But it is also Ashe into this composition where I would not consider Ashe to be that powerful. But we'll see how they take this forward. EU5 heads still continuing to play on this outside, but it looks like they might just be getting kited by Ross.
I mean, Simpson coming around the back gets him melted instantly. That's the power of Corvus, Vivian Genos.
Simsalud definitely learning what it's like to play in a cross-play league as opposed
Oh,
to
yeah.
the VPL
Welcome
from
to
the past.
2020, Simpson.
It's a tough one playing into these control hit scans sometimes, but Vixar is keeping up this pressure now off of this as they sit fairly defensive here. U5 had still managing to maintain control, but I'm not sure how I really want to break in. Only 20% gained by that Ashe so far. No one really to shoot here as they try to make their way in, but Midnight will be the engage. Even with a scout there, they're willing to spend the rest of the ultimates for it. Barrage goes into the shield, but doesn't really find much else as Ashe gets very aggressive. They kill that Corvus. They want more, but Vixar trades one out. Another Immortal there to keep them going as well. Vixar will be diving onto this, finds a third, chasing down this Shy as well. Maybe Booby Trap. That reveal barely letting him escape with his life here. 3 kills for Vixar. They're going to keep this rolling forward, and I don't know if that was ever in Rosvet's control.
No, never. Ever since Sims died, you were on the back foot. Vivian just has a full ground. I mean, Nano Shield isn't being dealt with, and Vixar was able to go huge there when they used Maeve Shawl to engage, assuming that they thought maybe those ults could help them, but I mean, EU5 is doing a great job so far playing around this this conflict they have.
Yeah, also combining Maeve ult and Shot ult at the same time into a Cassie,
Yeah.
probably not the best stacking of resources there when you can deny them both entirely. And EU5 heads, I don't know if I like them. I feel like they're completely stacking one side. I don't know if that's the play, but it's forcing Rosvet out.
Yeah, they're gonna go at least taking a side angle, but I mean, with an Nano Shield, you kind of want to stack to a certain extent. I mean, they're playing well so far.
Yeah, for sure. They're able to get a little bit of space here with 2 kills now. 3 kills for EU5 heads, catching Rosvet on their retreat as they play up top here. Simsalud hoping to trade 1 kill before he goes down, and he will, but just 1 with Pasiwo cleaning up that next kill as they try to hold forward here. But locking them into spawn will be EU5 heads shortly. The cart's still rolling around this corner, and ultimates might need to be spent by Rosvet to break out.
Yeah, I mean, the kill on the Yonko was big there, but I mean, as soon as the fight starts, Yonko's basically back, so it's basically a 5v5 no matter what. Guess we'll have to see what Rosvet throws out here to hold this.
Yeah, we'll see if they do spend anything like the assert dominance, but early comes out the barrage here from the Victor in the backline, but it doesn't find much. It will force Vixar back. Simsalud, though, is smartly, I think, not willing to contest that after the last couple of times. Five heads, they'll just disengage, and the fight seems to stall out.
Yeah, I mean, you got Barrage out, Vixar got forced into, like, spawn, so, I mean, just take that, come back later, use your Vivian ult. Hopefully, maybe they'll throw out. I mean, there's nothing really to throw out from besides the EU5 heads. Gotta hope Vivian finds a kill, or they were able to kill Sims or something next time he dives. That's, like, your win condition, I believe.
Yeah, so I think it's a lot on Simsy playing careful, but he's adaptive. He should be able to figure it out. As right now, those into the backline again, splitting them and trying to dive these pockets. But there's a lot of fuel here combined, and look at them all coming back to deal with them. But he trades for 1. That could be enough for them to make this initial move here. Maybe on the side of EU5 as they don't still need their Corvus, but Nando running it up. He'll have the shield to fight Vixar. Will be pushing with the Genos mark soon. Actually, wait, unmarked right now, finally does get it. Now maybe willing to push, but too much damage in the way for him, and it's kind of just a stalemate on these DPSs. Scouron really needs those players to push because he is getting low on the suggestion.
Yeah, that's what happens when you lose your Corvus there. I mean, Genos isn't enough to keep you up. You kind of just are forced to be on a timer. Whenever they just kill your shield, you're essentially dead. So good trade from Sims overall.
Yeah, getting rid of that extra healing made things a lot harder, I think, for the Nando, as you said there. But Ultimates all up on the side of Rosvet now this time. Do you expect to see a different look from them now that they have this assert dominance to roll out on this mid?
Yeah, I think Ashe can be a little bit more aggro, and then Sims won't just get insta-melted this time, right? Hopefully, that would be the plan if I was on Rosvet right now.
Yeah, I think definitely going in off of that would be a important decision to make. You want to be able to just cross that gap ASAP. But if Hero's having a really tough game in general, I mean, he doesn't have caught 3 yet. He's still just a little bit short. Meanwhile, King Nick kind of just running away with it with caught 3, life rip, 200 credits in the pocket. SMC's looking to taste the rainbow with his items. But I think maybe do you just spend Midnight really early to force out the scout so your heat haze can work out a little bit better later?
I think so. You either do that or you force the heat haze to get Cassie ult. Either or, but Cassie doesn't seem like she cares because Shaw's not really pushing, right? So there's no reason. So
yeah, Phobos wasn't.
Cassie has the free Shaw ult, or Cassie has the free ult for the Maeve ult. Interesting.
But at the very least, they can maybe play a different flank without using Midnight because they know she's going to hold it for that, so they can force it out. Ethereal, though, tries to come in, doesn't get it off. The second cast of it wasn't fast enough. The 1-for-1 trade, so both tanks are dead, so it's just a DPS fight as the Whirlwind tries to keep the team in the fight, and that's actually enough with Maeve cleaning up that next fight. Scout will counter out this Midnight, but a Barrage might find another. They're all forced to hide inside. Time and Space, submarine style, doesn't find King Nick here on the side as they rotate back over to this objective to contest here. 81% now in climbing. They have to move in. They have the Immortal, but they're going to have to play off of this Sentinel Vivian doing a lot of damage. Buyanko's isolated. Can't find much else, but Vixar trying to play on this side. Die from Simsaloo. It's still a 1-for-1 trade, and Simpsy can't find the kill.
Damn, yeah, Simpsy not finding the kills there was pretty big, and also on the side there, King Nick versus Juenko, that didn't really go in his favor, and that was really big for the U5 heads. I mean, it was looking really good for Rosva. I mean, the massive Astral didn't go off, but you still won the point, but now it's looking like a retake situation for Rosva.
I think Ethereal needs to be careful, but they're not actually pushing him at all, so he had to just sit there uncontested as Simsaloo comes back in, finds one, finds two, killing the Nando as well, but Vixar still next to the point, but won't be able to do too much other than maybe trading one more kill. Doesn't even get that with Phobos playing on that side, and they'll be able to group up and keep this moving forward, but I think that cleanup there by the end, the fact that they didn't push that Ashe really bit them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you saw they were just able to come back. He got his ult off. Good stuff from Rosva retaking that.
Yeah, especially I think the timings of the death too helped them quite a bit, but that's one death they do not like the timing of, with Simpsy falling to Yoinko on the flank, and they can't even get the trade with Yoinko being able to disengage as Rosva now. We'll just have to wait and hold back here, but I think they want to move quick so they have a chance to spend those ults.
Yeah, I mean, Sims dying there pretty big, you know. It depends on how far EU5 heads take this push here. I mean, Sims might die again. Yeah, not having a good Grover as well to try to save him.
Serini just a little bit too far. Just a little bit too far to keep him up as they're kind of sent back playing behind this Ashe shield, but Ashe is not covering all the angles with Yoinko playing on the side alone with Vixar. Ethereal now kind of alone, but somehow still alive, getting everybody pushing on him. Does get the reset on the shield to keep him in this fight for now, and now Simsaloo again coming in from the side, and this time, third time's the charm. It works. He'll clean up Vixar, and they'll push forward to kill Scouron here on the objective with another follow-up kill. They want to move. Corvus will escape for now, but Rosfed in a good position with quite a few ultimates, and maybe they'll be willing to spend it just to careen this payload right in.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Ethereal was dead there, but those Grover heals keeping him up, I mean, did a really good job of winning that engage. I mean, I didn't think there was even going to be a fight there, but Rosfed coming out on top, pretty good so far. They have Victorol, and they could play for a win here. I would, if I was Rosfed right now.
Yeah, because I think
here.
Their ults charge pretty quick too, I think, so that might be able to function there with Yoinko trying to engage on the right, but slow down. I think that is Desert Silence actually on Phobos, but an Assert Dominance. Wait, it looks like that's done 3
yeah, that was 3
on the side by the Ashe. They got all of them, but the Nano Shield saves the rest as this card heads closer. Time and Space doesn't hit anybody, and Phobos gets that Heat Haze forced out by that extra damage, and Tropic Breeze just buys some time on the objective with Ashe still contesting and trading in damage-wise here, but the card moved up. They have to maybe spend this on Brutal with King Nick finding another kill. Maeve still above them. Spending this Midnight might be countered by that Scout, but Yoinko dies. No counter available. They can't see anything on their side, and this Nando's getting forced off the point, trying to make it back in. Does barely touch there near the end, with Vixar getting lower. No more damage other than Nando, and they just got to kill this Aegis, and they should be able to roll this in. Corvus can't make it, and Rosvet, they will push it in off of the use of those ultimates. What a fantastic end by them, and I think you were right. Play for the win, and it worked out.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great use of your ults there. Great use of Assert Dominance. Ethereal kind of not having the best game, the first 2 point fights, but point fight number 3, and then that end push is really great from him. Really great stuff.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was that must have been that Assert Dominance, right? Catching the 3 on the side with that cleanup. The Nano Shield, I mean, it forced that Nano Shield, and they had to rotate out, but just no one really being able to peek out. The healers getting poked, I think, made that Vivian a lot harder to play off of. Do you feel like they didn't play well enough around the Vivian where it should have maybe gotten more value with that double pocket?
Yeah, I think the last point fight, the Vivian kind of wasn't able to do the same thing she was in the first time. Even though like Ashe wasn't doing more than she did the first couple of fights, she just seemed like she got completely negated, which I don't know why. I feel like Sims was able to get away with a lot more towards the end of that too.
Yeah, I definitely think the Maeve especially opened up the most out of all of them in terms of finding space. MC definitely, again, learning how to play against controller hit scans, because it's very different for flankers, especially for Maeve, but Maeve, big win rate, able to rock it out for now. And surprisingly, I think King Nick, biggest shocker here, the fact that he out-damaged Vixar, who had this Corvus and Genos boost.
Yeah, I mean, Sim's hands look like this, so King's could look like that, right? King Nick was kind of just like the silent carry. Sims is kind of just in the forefront dying constantly, but King Nick, I mean, not dying to Yoinko, winning 1v1s, putting down damage, using ults. Like I think he did really well, even though he was kind of just like in the shadows essentially.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that the performance from them was fairly solid here, but now EU5 heads, they'll have to look ahead to the next map, which won't even be their choice. They were the higher seed coming in, and Rosvet now, after winning that map, they'll get to play on their own choice of map here, which, I mean, after winning Jag, do you probably just keep it the same, right? Do you just keep it on Bright Marsh? Or is that what you're thinking? Or do you think they might just go for a totally different style to mix up five heads even further?
I think you keep it the same. Maybe go double tank this time, but it's still same map, like small map, kind of just same playstyle concept. I think just keep it the same. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. We can head into the Big Cements to see exactly how things go. But I mean, if you can beat double pocket Vivian on Jaguar Falls, you might want to try to roll the same way here. Splitstone Quarry, though, will be the choice by Rosvet, a map that they must be feeling comfortable with if they're willing to pick it up here. And bans probably looking a little bit different here. Probably not expecting to see double main tank bans, but maybe they just really want to aim that way. It could just be the way that the EU meta kind of crumbles.
Yeah, I mean, double main tank bans on here I kind of like more because this is a harder main tank map in my opinion than Jag. So I think forcing someone onto Nando if they're not that comfortable again, or Ash solo tank especially, I think suffers here. Maybe they'll go for the same thing.
I'll be honest though, it might just be my opinion, but even though it won, I think Ash solo tank kind of struggles everywhere. I don't really I don't think it's fantastic unless you're really diving with some flankers and stuff. But Andrew will stay the same. Yoinko enough of a threat to warrant the first ban slot, but their first pick, they can stay a little bit flexible. And now it's kind of on EU5 heads to ban that Vivian, to ban those pockets and the other characters that can run rampant in this meta.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen King Nick. He can probably play Vivian if he played the Victor that well. I mean, it's up to you if you want to give it to him, but it's probably looking a little rough either.
Listen, I get why you said it like that, but it is Vivian. It's not the hardest character to perform that well on, and he did perform well in Victor. It really is kind of copy paste in terms of play style quite a bit of the time, but it looks a lot of targets here to me, honestly. Maeve seems targeted to Simsi after what he was able to do last map, even with the initial struggles into Vixar and that Vivian, and it'll be Ruckus again, continuously banned here in this European region.
Yeah, I mean, Ruckus showed he's really strong. And our first pick, which I do like, even though Terminus is still super pickable here and really good, actually. But maybe they've got a comp centered around the scenario here.
I seem to have retired from my title as Terminus Simp, and it seems to have fallen to you as also evidenced by your team, because you guys are picking it up constantly. But he's like, I mean, pockets are a meta, right? Pockets are good. Terminus is just a pocket on a good main tank, because you can pocket someone else with your Siphon. It makes sense, and I'm shocked to see it not picked up, honestly, as often as it is. EU5 heads, though, they got this Corvus, they got this Eevee. One of the picks that really is different between NA and EU, and EU seems to think that it just beats Vivian, which is surprising to me, and we might even see Rosvet kind of back off of that for it.
Yeah, maybe. I think if you're confident, you can still go for it, but I do agree. Maybe they think that the Eevee here just completely cancels out the Vivian. You're willing to give it up, just get the Corvus here, take away a pocket, see if they still want to run the Genos Vivian. And if they do, I mean, just do your best as Eevee, right? With lifesteal.
Yeah, I think that might be able to do quite a bit with it, but it's going to be tough for that Eevee. Squishy playing into this Shaolin that has a Genos boost, so assuming they run Sand Trap, that's, a 1450 arrow without any of those damage reductions early, so risky, I think, or a little bit risky for that to play. Going to take some solid Eevee play, and we'll see how it functions, but EU5 heads also managed to land on their Vivian as well. I think that is a solid pickup for them. It's great into Shaolin, I think, in particular. Those reveals from the sensor drone make things a lot tougher for him once he uses his withdraw.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good pick here. They don't take the Vivian. You just go ahead and get it. You have the Corvus already. You have the reveal for the Shaolin, which makes his life a lot harder. And then Ash, I mean, you're not really giving too much up there from what your team comp's going to look like. I mean, you're already diving. It's just a good pick overall. We'll see what they pick for main tank, or if they go solo Ash again.
Yeah, it will be solo Ash. Do you think this is going to be a focusing Lens Ying, or do you think it's going to be a more focus on the raw HP to supplement the Inara?
I think raw HP help the Inara out here. You're going for triple deeps again. You gotta kind of hope she lives and doesn't die to Vivian.
Yeah, it looks like another triple DPS mirror match with another solo tank Ash. I think, though, it's a bit of a better backing on it. I think Kinessa on this map, they don't really have a good answer, or an answer at Oh, honestly, and we'll see what Rosvet can come up with for that answer if it's not just a barrage as we head into the game here. Splitstone Quarry going to be map number 2 in the European Week 2 Paladin Central Minor League Finals. Just looking at this, I mean, that better not be Stun Corvus. Right now, it's Stun Corvus, and that better not stay as Stun Corvus because that would be a very difficult wait. Okay, thank God. I was gonna keep mumbling into my mic until he swapped on it.
Yeah, hopefully he heard you. But yeah, I mean, really aggro comp from EU5 heads, while Rosfed is gonna have an Anara AFK on point, so we'll see how that pays off for them. I'm liking Rosfed's chances here more, just because I'm not Anara on point all the time.
You're the Inara just watching the game happen around you, just kicking back, but no one touching the point just yet. They're using the Inara's wall, looks like inside the quarry to go for a kill instead as Yoinko tries to go and peel, but missing the early shots for now with them disengaging. But Zarini getting knocked dangerously low, but Ying healing, keep him up, but not long enough to live through Vixar.
Yeah, I mean, 2,000 damage headshot, and she didn't have DR on for that. That's just unlucky.
Yeah, just running out there near the end.
Yeah, I mean, so far the aggro from EU5 head's looking really good. They have the initial point fight. They caught Simsulu on the side there. It's going to be really hard for Roscoe to retake it.
Yeah, I agree as well, especially pushing into this Vivian that they got from that earlier EV pick with Vixar sitting close here. They have great control as well. That high ground pressure could be good, but Kofigs just disappears. King Nick catching that, and now they have to send Zarini, to this objective. To touch DR will get him in, but now he has to deal with surviving without it as Vixar continues to contest here, but they lose Pasiwo, and the rest of the U5 heads looks like they might fall as they just try to escape.
Yeah, I think you kind of just want to die now if you're Vivian, play for retake. Vivian seemed like she wasn't in the best position for that Zarini touch. She was able to just LOS him, and they killed the Ashe in return for nothing. So maybe a little bit of a misplay there, just being Corey, kind of being stuck. We'll see what they pull out here on the retake. They do have the aggro comp. Oh, and yeah, find Sims again.
Simsi shot. I was joking earlier about how I've never really seen it. I guess this might be why Simsi caught out kind of early, trying to be aggressive, wishing he was on a flank maybe here. As EU5 heads now managed to fully in though off the back of this headhunter. Good by Yoinko to force them away, and Zarini now will have to go on point with no DR, hoping the seismic crash will make up for it, but it slows him down, it stops him, he can't touch in time. He'll trade out for Vixar, but they'll lose the point, they'll lose the fight that matters, and it's still an even trade at the end of the day anyway, with Kofigs cleaning up another one after.
Yeah, such a bad situation to be in as a main tank there, because like your team gets forced back, but you have to be on point or else they're gonna get the cap, so you kind of just have to be on an island. And he tried getting the ult solo play out, but just too slow, wasn't able to touch in time. But good effort from Zarini. Unfortunate that E5 had so much pressure.
Look at that assert dominance in the back to live in front of two, but there's literally no one helping him. He's just completely alone with the rest of them around him. I don't even know how he's still alive, bro. Okay, there we go. Pasiwo finally gets cleaned up as Vixar wanted to push, but just was not willing to cross that gap. They need a barrage to stabilize, but don't know what it's going to find. Go hide.
They're looking for the Kinessa there. Maybe Zarini can find her TP. No, it looks like she's already in fire. Vixar kind of making a lot of space here on the high ground. If he gets a good spot here, Sims is able to find Yoinko though. It's a good kill. Vixar kind of on his own here. There we go.
Yeah, Simslu cleans up 2 kills there with Ethereal, getting one of his own as 3 of them are down with Rosvet wanting to get a little bit more, but I like the way that they're pushing this. I like how they have them just going aggressive with only a minute left. All that defenses are is about time, so it's not about sitting still and controlling that space. If you can buy time, you get time. You just want to force it to overtime as fast as possible to have an easier fight.
Yeah, sure. They're playing it super well. I mean, you see they're just over here. Simslu still in spawn on Vixar. And now you play the final choke here, or the second to last choke, and you hope for the best here. You hope, you know, if they ult, you come out on top. You start using some of your own. You could use an R ult here. But looks like they're not even going to need much here. I mean, Zarini's making so much pressure. Ying actually dies during the ult. A little bit of aggro from Sim. Can he find a trade? No, it's looking good so far, but they still have to crest like two more checkpoints here instead of E5 head.
Vivian just gets the 3rd kill there as well, just bullying through them. And honestly, good on Zarini to die on this objective to hold this down with the cart just running by for now. Zerrini, though, I think buying a ton of time with Kofix getting the rotate. Another kill picked up for Vixar, so a lot of these kills getting fed into him, including all these credits following up as well. But engagement could come out soon. What would you spend here? Would you be willing to spend to go up to the 2-0?
I would probably be willing to spend an R or maybe a Barrage, just because if you don't want to go down 0-2, but I mean, you do have the NR, you can, but we'll see what they use here. They use Barrage. Zerrini living on point so far. They find Pesiwo, they find EV. That seems to be it. The Barrage was enough to hold that off. I would be willing to use an R right there, but Barrage was enough, and it's looking good for him so far.
Yeah, I was thinking on EU5 its perspective, but I guess it makes sense to not want to spend ults to, you know, then give them comeback mechanic, right?
You give them comeback mechanic with an Inara. That's not the best.
No, especially when you have a solo tank Ashe into what is, I think, a double backline comp, which will be quite difficult here, but we'll take a look at how they want to approach this. A lot of ultimates left. They spent the barrage, but do you think, Rosvet, do you think they look for maybe like a setup, like a seismic crash time and space, or do they just play to kite out the ults from 5 hits?
Yeah, I think you definitely look for a play there on the Corey side, maybe. I mean, it's kind of hard to know who you're going to catch up. Maybe use it on the Vivian. The rest of them kind of just don't die to it, right? Kiness can TP. Eevee just has so much inner kit to avoid it. You definitely, if you get the Vivian out, though, with the seismic crash through time and space, you're in a pretty good spot.
Wait, look at that. The Eevee just jumped, the Ashe, excuse me, just jumped over Zerrini here with them holding here. I'm not sure if Pasiwo will spend, and he won't actually, just able to live in the core of them. No way to turn around, but Kofix will catch Simsi here as Pasiwo tries to continue to get aggressive. They go in, Ashe gets the assert dominance, stuns King Nick. He will fall if Pasiwo doesn't reload, and he's not, so that kill will come for them here with 30%, excuse me, on this objective right now. Kofix in a great position, I think, to keep this pressure up above. Wants to collapse on Zerrini, but no one else willing to go forward, and Rosvet has to find a way to break through.
Yeah, I mean, Pasiwo, massive use of his kit there and his mount to be able to just make that much space, and then the ult on top of that, just great play. But Yonko falls, and it's looking like a retake for Rosvet so far.
Yeah, right now with them holding close to the side, Zerrini does make it in, and they actually might catch Hasibo here, which is rough, but they gave up cap time to do it. Still no one willing to stand on the objective. Finally, Zerrini says, all right, I'll do it. I'll go back, I'll get this cap working for you. Now it's on EU 5 heads to go through. That's without even having an assert dominance.
Yeah, all you have really is Seismic Crash. Maybe that'll be enough to find Vivian with the help of Sims, but it's looking rough here for Rosvet until you find EV like that. I mean, that's really good. You're going to get the Ashe out here, kill the solo tank, and you're looking really good.
Actually, the CC stops him from using his dash, and Simpsy cleans that up. But guess what? Vixar is here, and he is willing to clean everybody up. No one can really contest this Vivian with King Nick getting destroyed by Yoinko. They're on the follow-up here, but see Phobos falls as well to Yoinko, and these double backlines are doing a ton of work for EU 5 heads right now. All that damage got absorbed by the Ashe there, but that pulled all the aggro away from the Vivian, who will now clean up another kill onto Simpsy.
Yeah, the Vivian and the Kinessa there just doing their job on the high ground. I thought it was looking over. I thought Ross were going to run away with it, but then the damage came out, Zerrini fell, and then some more kills on top of that. It's rough.
Yeah, we'll see this. What else EU 5 heads can get on this offense as this card is moving, but no one on Rosvet's been able to really stop this so far at all as they try to run this down. But look at this pressure from the inside. I like this map control, and they're using this assert dominance, I think, a little early.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's good. He's making space. Eevee's gonna get in there now, and hopefully they're playing King Nick. He was able to get it out with 1 HP, so it's looking like he's gonna die here. Maybe they can get a trade for it. King Nick 1 HP here on the left side. They found him, and he's alive. So actually, 2 for nothing.
Yeah, that's a great trade.
Look at how close the card is.
Yeah, it's getting real close. They haven't really been able to stop it just yet. Zerrini not even moving to get it with Vixar keeping Phobos isolated. I mean, Phobos literally can't move from this spot, and the AoE is going to make it, so he'll have to fall for that as well. Still moving uncontested with a 3-1 forward here as EU 5 heads go up again. Vivian 13-4. There's just no way for Rosvet to really answer that pick.
Yeah, I mean, the Vivian's... I thought the Inara would be able to just live, but then I'm reminded that it is Kinessa, Vivian, you're going to be poking your teammates in the back, so you're going to be left on an island a lot of the time. And it's super hard to get anything done here. They do have 4 ults coming up. maybe they go for a more
spawning in
aggro play here,
15
because
seconds.
it kind of seems like EU 5 heads is just winning most of these initial engages. They're kind of just forcing it. Sims is kind of on the back foot a lot of the time. He's not really playing aggro with Heat Haze.
5,
So maybe they change it up a little bit in that regard.
3, 2.
I could see that. He Haze is still kind of tough though because of the sensor drone, right? It's really, I think it's kind of hard to play into it. But EU 5 heads, no Assert dominance for them. They did have to spend it for that, and Rosta will have quite a bit. So I think their ultimates are going to be very impactful here with Kofix already getting aggressive. And hey, the ultimates had to be impactful, and they already have one caught. Possible kills Serini, and Ying actually somehow escapes from that with Ethereal staying alive, but Ethereal gets the trade there. But still, this Vivian, again, no aggro really being looked at her. Everyone else is absorbing that for her, and she's able to get away with murder.
Yeah, Sereni's going, or Sixto's going for the hero play here. Actually was able to find one through the sensor drones. Kind of managed to escape the Vivian. Really good job from him. Might be looking for an exit kill here through time and space. There it is. Good combo.
All it takes to kill a Vivian is 2 ultimates, Hero. That's all it takes.
All it takes.
It's really that easy with Serini now contesting points still. Holding it. Kofix, though, caught in the open. King Nick with a great angle there as they hold, but Passio 75 to ult. He might need to get it to get this contest, honestly, because comeback is in the way, and it's going to make it a lot harder for him.
Yeah, good use of CD's with Serini there, making sure you don't die to the Kinessa to a random headshot. Now it has to be a DPS touch here. Kinessa actually coming up big.
Whoa. I have no idea. He blinks right in, gets up top, manages to kill one. Vixar again comes back, and no 2 ults this time. Vixar will clean up his 3rd of this fight with Serini just trying to delay. Here as he falls, another kill for Vixar. Vivian, again, you just need those 2 ults, and they do not have it. This mine will also stop the dismounts as well, and I don't think there's a chance for Rosvet to make it back in. This 4th pick Vivian paying off in dividends for EU 5 heads, and they're going to bring us to a game 3 in this set.
I mean, once again, they killed Ashe and they paid for it with the point. I don't know how it happened, but Kinessa just comes up big. Vivian lays down damage, and they kill Zarina. They kill the rest of the team. Kind of crazy to think about how they were they were so dominant, and then just Kinessa hops on Corey. You think it's over for them, but just comes up big.
Yeah, the burst turnaround, I think, by the Kinessa, the fact that she can just blink on top of the bleachers and catch people off guard. If you don't have someone immediately looking for it, you really can't answer it. One headshot and suddenly a kill gets turned around. Plus, I think just the fact that they got the overtime to give their DPS a chance to open up and have Vixar clean up 4 of those kills, definitely a big deal here. But hopefully we can take a look at the stats and see how things ended up at the end of the day. And I think no one's surprised to see a 18-5 Vivian in the hands of EU 5 heads.
Yeah, I mean, he's played really well. Wasn't able to. I noticed him dying like 2 times on separate occasions. Only one of them really mattered. But even then, they just come back. They come back with Vivian just to hold left click. And yeah, it's hard for Sims to get anything done with the sensor drones. And King Nick, it seems like he didn't have the same performance on the Victor to match up with the Vivian.
I do think someone does need to tell Simsaloo that Rejuvenate isn't good anymore, though, because he's picked it up 2nd pick on this Shaolin. Not something super commonly seen, but I guess it did boost the healing stats a little bit, right? Phobos and Ethereal keeping up there, but damage was heavily in favor of 5 heads, which is surprising because 5 heads were the team without the Genos, and yet their damage was still heavily leaning towards them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the nature of the characters they have, right? Like Kinessa, Vivian, even though you don't have the Genos, you're just free. Like, they don't have a Eevee or anything to get on top of them. They just have Sims, which can't really get anything done solo. So overall, solid comp from EU5 heads. Played Splitstone really well.
Yeah, I think that the timing of the draft worked out too, because just picking the Vivian scared Rosvet out of picking that Vivian. I'd really, again, I don't agree with that. I think Vivian can be played into her as long as you're in the right build, and Vixar ran the right build and ended up working out. So we'll see now 1-1 in these best of 3 finals. Not both teams. It's going to depend on who wins this. We'll get more points and more crystals. The points being what seed you in that final week of gameplay here. But we have, I believe, picks and bans ready for the last map here, which should be Rosvet's pick being the losers of the last map, and it'll be Brightmarsh. So I think makes sense. You're repeating maybe the start there. You said, all right, well, we thought Splitstone would work. It didn't. So now we'll be able to lean into our more comfortable pick here, Rosvet, though. The first ban, do you expect anything to change?
Maybe Vivian. Maybe you get rid of the Vivian, or you pick it earlier this time, or the Corvus, get rid of her pockets, right? Make it a little bit more bearable if you are going to give it up. But I do like going back to Brightmarsh, going back to a small map where you're not going to get triple backlined or double backlined and just farmed, right?
And Maeve right now, though, banned by UE5 Head, still targeting Simslu, but I feel like it's not as impactful on this map. I do find it very hard to side against Maeve, though, because I have the stats for the PPC available for me to look at, and Maeve is the highest win rate, right below Lex.
What's her win rate right now?
It's like 62% or something, and Lex is 64, so definitely performing well, so it makes sense to see that get banned. And Vivian, I think, Rosvet have said, maybe we don't want to let this through another time.
You know, enough is enough. Zarini probably didn't have a fun time playing against that, probably advocated for it a little bit, sitting on point, get rid of Victor as well. Looking like a pretty fun and nice and clean game.
Yeah, both the hit scans banned. I think we might even see an early Tyra, or even I'd expect to see Strix even maybe here. I think that for your controller backlines are important. But Rosvet, they will pick up an R for Zarini. Fantastic on Jaguar Falls, but Terminus is still available, so it's not like they're going to be missing out on a replacement on the side of EU5 heads.
Yeah, I'm actually very intrigued by the constant first pick in Ara when Term is up, and just like the lack of Terminus that I've seen so far, especially from Zarini. I thought Zarini would opt for that Terminus a little bit more. But
I think Terminus right now, and your team does value it pretty highly, but I don't know how highly it's valued, I think, globally here. But right now, Genos on the other side, very, very strong pick, especially with Corvus banned, the last pocket remaining, and Androxus to follow. So EU5 heads have their comfort pick in DPS, and they have the 15% damage boost to them as well. But Inara, for Rosvet, they could play a hard sustain comp, and they can make that Genos' life a little bit tougher.
Yeah, I mean, you elect to ban Corvus Vivian this time. You let Yoinko back on his Andro. It'll be interesting to see if he just pops off on it like he does. I mean, we just saw him on it on Bright Marsh earlier. So I'm curious to see what the answer for it is from Rosvet's side. But so far, I'm liking EU5 heads combo so far.
Yeah, I like the start, but 2 picks a draft does not make. We'll have to see how they fill out the rest of it. And Damba, I like that paired with the Inara. I see Jithins has mistyped the 3rd pick, so we'll have to wait a minute to see that one. I'm so sorry, Jithins. I know you didn't get sleep last night. It is Atlas built in there for them, and I like that. I like that combination. I think the tanks on the inside of these houses, Deja Vu, especially for a lot of rewind potential there, a lot of sustain dumb, but they just have a heavy sustain comp, and again, that's what will make Andro's life a little bit tougher.
Yeah, I like the use of the Atlas soft tank on this map especially. I think Ash now is going to have a hard time too if the Atlas plays well. And are always solid, right? Yeah, I'm curious to see what they pair this comp with as like a backlane DPS. Shaolin.
Yeah, Shaolin, I mean, CC, I guess you're going to run it for the cripple maybe.
Yeah.
Onto the Atlas, onto whatever flankers Rosvet want to pick up. I think it's a decent counter pick here with Andrew there. Maybe, what does Rosvet go Tyra? Is that like the filler here? I actually don't think, looking at this draft, this is not bad for Tyra, right? You run the mercy kill into the Shah?
Yeah, I was going to say Tyra's actually looking pretty good, but I would rather have the Strix, and they do opt to go for the Strix, which I like a lot on this map, especially if you play it kind of a hybrid kind of aggro style.
Yeah, I think it can work. I mean, Strix definitely gets the most value, I think, when he is aggressive, using that tactical retreat chaining to go forward, and Xin will be the follow-up. But so interesting. I don't know. Xin is okay, I think, here. I don't think Xin is going to be a star, but I don't think that's the point of this. I think it's supposed to be Strix, and having Xin just delay time to make it a little tougher. But Rom's a tough matchup for him with both drafts totally filled out. Which way are you leaning here?
I'm leaning towards Rosvet. I like the use of the Atlas Strix, and then Zen just kind of in the side. Maybe get a couple guillotine kills on Ash every point fight. Overall, Rosvet though.
Yeah, I think definitely I like the tank comp from Rosvet. We'll see if they can slow down what EU5 heads have, but aggression's the name of the game. We'll see how things wind up on Bright Marsh, map number 3 of the October Week 1 European Paladin Central Minor League Finals. Say that 10 times fast. And we'll see how they do this. Big wall, it looks like it's going to be for Zarini as they set up for this. But I like the DPS here, looking at all the talents that get picked up here. Nothing else too surprising. I'd say Big Wall is the only one that shocks to me. But the Guillotine will be, I think, a big pickup for the Ash, for the Rom. If you can get him low enough, definitely good cleanup there. But we'll see how this ends up paying off for them, how Rosvet play around this kind of sustaining composition.
Yeah, I mean, I like how Rosvet's pathing here. You got the Inara on point, you got controlled apps there. They're going to look for Ra maybe here after CDs are out. And then Zarini actually had to rewind. They're looking on the back foot right now. They got the Damba.
Yeah, 2 kills immediately by Vixar on this ROM getting into the back with Yoinko cleaning up another. So early leaning towards EU 5 heads with them trying to cap here as another one goes for them. So a complete snowball basically rolling things over with 2 members of Rosfet still stuck in spawn. But cap time is their side. If they get this retake, then I don't know if EU 5 heads have a chance to stay in the fight.
Yeah, if they get this retake here, it's looking pretty unlikely for E5 to retake back, but it's about getting there, right? And with this comp, I don't think you're going to have much that really is able to just touch and live, right? Your best bet's the Inara, but E5 is kind of playing it well so far.
Yeah, it looks like Inara should make it actually back in with that DR still saved here with the retouch coming in. Ethereal just barely living and finally getting healed back up. Pasiwo dives the Strix. King Nick maybe overstepping a little bit on this objective. Simsaloo looking for another fight, but Zarini cleans up one more with a Cataclysm coming in. Yamba so low. Vixar gets another. Vixar in this ROM has been so impactful here in this round with only Zarini left. Him inevitably falling. EU 5 heads will get this first mid. Off the bat, I'm impressed by how much impact Vixar has had on this ROM.
Yeah, actually, I agree. Like, the initial fight was the 3v3, and ROM was able to just do so much, even against the Alex, that I was able to win the fight for his team, and they were able to kill Damba. So pretty good stuff from the ROM so far.
Yeah, agreed. I think that Vixar on the ROM has been fantastic. Assert dominance, though. E5 heads want to keep up this aggression, maybe a little bit ahead of the cart. But in the middle of the team right now is them. Could clean up Simsi, but he uses Spite with Guillotine just to get away, but his team is still falling. Finally, 1 kill equalized as they keep rolling through these tanks here, but Possible gets away, and it looks like EU5 has been sent running, having to find another way to bust through the walls here.
Yeah, use the Astral, but you do get Fear out, which I think is a pretty worthwhile trade now that I don't have Fear for this defense. And they're all on the ground on this defense, which is a pretty big deal. King Nick's now on the ground, so if E5 has come back in with aggression, you might be able to push this in.
Dude, I don't know how Pasiwo keeps dashing away from this, by the way. Pasiwo literally like finds the tiniest thread in the needle every single time he tries to get blocked. But weird push right now, I think, honestly, with how forward Vixar is. But the Accursed Arm actually from straight above kills 2 Vixars, pulled all that pressure away with Yoinko. Gaining 3 kills from that, could be more with Ethereal now, just buying time, but not even on the objective. This is tough for them with Zarini now stuck in spawn, but this card has to move forward here. We'll see what they spend for it. I don't know if they want to spend ult, because they might want to just play with the comeback mechanic later.
Yeah, I think play with comeback mechanic, you kind of gave them way too much ground anyways, right? I mean, unless you want to change it up now that Yoinko's dead, so we're going to do your best to live here. It's looking pretty good so far. It might have to be another fight. Try to push this in.
Yeah, but the card's close, and all they have to do is win one here as they get through them. But this is interesting. A seismic crash very aggressively. They'll kill Pasiwo off of it with Rom having to run away. Vixar, wait a minute. Is he just going to catch the back up? Are they ready? Dumba's there. They had that at the last moment. But Vixar now sent back to the wall. He'll actually die a little bit staggered, and this is going to make things a little bit tougher for them here. With you 5 heads now. They have aggressive tanks to break through, but Frostbite are going to move their front line so far forward. They're going to have to find a way to break through them.
So Maldamba had to drop to contest, but now he's on the ground. So if they want to go for another aggro play here with maybe another couple ults and maybe just one ult to catch him out, might look pretty good for E5 heads.
Yeah, they killed Zarini, and that's going to make things a little bit easier here. But the fear, they thought it would stop them from touching, but Vixar was already on, and they're forced to use the Guillotine. One more kill, though. It's going to be Vixar falling, but it's still a 2 for 2. 3 versus 3 now on the objective with Shaolin. Kofigs buying his time, but there's 2 tanks left. There's no way an Andro and a Genos are going to be able to win that fight, but Scouron decides to give his streak a very kind donation over there to Strix. 44% on that flashbang will be something that will come up during this fight. A lot of ultimates will be available for you 5 heads, though, and Rosfet had to spend quite a bit on the defense.
Yeah, I think Rosfet having used the Fear there and the Guillotine was pretty big, because Zarini, or Ethereal used the Naro right before that, so you're really coming into this fight with nothing too big, unless Zarini gets crazy isolation ults here and they're able to kill someone, like a Shaolin that's there or something, but overall, I mean, they had to waste so much there just to keep it from going 0-2, so it's looking really good for EU5 heads if the ROM can repeat what he did the first round.
Yeah, for sure, especially because Vixar is starting with that Cataclysm as well, so it's not like they even have to really charge it up. But you're right, it is a lot of pressure on this Exile if they can catch anyone. But it has to be in front of King Nick, right? And King Nick died so early on that last fight. I feel like he kind of overextended pretty hard. We'll see if he plays a little bit safer, but also close enough to help Zarini, who is now getting absolutely just run down, and Exile's just a tank and a Shaolin.
Yeah, I mean, I like this so far. You push onto their side. Looks like Strix might be cut out here. Actually does his best to live, so it's looking good right now for Rosvet.
Yeah, for sure, with them holding it as they get cleaned up now, though. Assert dominance, kills one, as Zarini now dying, not on the objective, but Ethereal's doing that for him. Every single member won't trade a single thing here, but again, cap time, if you have the Inara, cap time will be in your favor, and they played off of that pretty well. 54% for Rosvet, they just have to, again, make it back in. Looking at this, though, again, no ultimates, they're going to have to, they do have the seismic crash, though, and that's what they're going to have to rely on.
They have Seismic Crash, and they're closer on their ultimates, like here, than EU5 does, since they just used theirs. So hopefully, maybe they can do a little damage and get that up. It hits the staircase.
The stairs!
Oh, you hate to see that.
The splash damage blocked just by the edge of the stairs, so an ultimate basically into the void. Ethereal throws into the Ether, and Yoinko cleans up too, is just the Xin fighting Vixar on the side, and another mid cleanly in favor of EU5 heads. I think these retakes just not hitting the way they need to be.
Yeah, definitely
on the side of Rosvet, just can't make it in to actually get space.
And then Yoinko as well on the Andro. I mean, just always solid, it seems. Just really big pressure on top of just misplays from Rosvet. They're looking in control so far. We'll see if they go for an aggro play here. I mean, they are kind of separated on the ground here so far.
Yeah, if they can catch someone out, maybe. But I think EU5 heads are... I think Rosvet's going to play smart. I don't think they're going to go too far forward, right? But Zarini actually, never mind. He almost gets killed just off the back of that crippling arrow, but it looks like they accidentally just set back them out of the guillotine to save them, but ults are going each way, but no one can clean up on a single kill.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate use of the guillotine there, didn't get anything, and now it kind of looks like they're scrapping it out, hoping to get these trades, hoping they don't go down here. Looks like they're coming out on top so far. Strix is just in spawn, having a free shooting day, so yeah. It's looking like they're going to hold for now. Strix is able to maintain his high ground. So, even though they lost Narini, I mean, I think they just get these kills here and clean it up, maybe?
Maybe. Paso was actually really close to the spawn with the assert dominance as well. And just like I said, here it comes right now from the low ground as they get them here. Strix knocked in and CC doesn't manage to get away as Paso was holding it, but this is tough. He could have gotten a rewind, but it looks like Zarini missed it.
Yeah, I mean, excellent use of the boop there from Pasiwa to kill the Strix, confirm that kill, and now it looks like they might make this push happen here.
Possible with the way they're holding, but they're willing to spend the seismic crash to stop it. But Yoinko actually sweeps right to the low ground, but they have to deal with the Strix on high, but can't connect. King Nick, I like the attempt from Scouron, but they have to contest. This damage coming through, knocked off the cart though. Simpsy's the last one contesting, and it's all on him, but he gets Siwo. How long can he move against Vixar here though? Billow will buy so much time, and Zin's delay might make this work. With them playing here. He disengages though in EU5 heads. They get the card so close again, but just not able to confirm.
Really good try there, but I mean, Sims just with the CD is able to live. Prom doesn't do enough damage to kill you through a counter, but he's coming back in. Maybe they go for another use of a couple ults here, maybe Angel. They do have another round one coming up as well. Good kill on the Sims.
It was a great sand trap arrow to find that kill. I don't think they even need to use 7 as long as they can kill the running away Inara here, but the great use, I think, of that Dread Serpent to slow them down is now Andro has to find a way to just stay alive, but can't live through Strix. Such great angle coverage by King Nick here. They'll be able to get overtime, but at this point, it's just giving them ultimates. But at the very least, for their sake, Rosvet have to spend 2, and EU5 heads again. Gonna be a lot of ults strong, I think, heading into this next mid.
Yeah, they get a consolation prize of the guillotine, which not the best use there, but I mean, they do have Astral. There's not really anything you can kill at the start with guillotine anyways, so maybe just hoping to build that up. Fear being gone though, pretty big. I think they need to change up how they're playing the apartments. Maybe send a Nara there and give up the point, but I just think they're getting ran through there, and then without ults, it's going to be even harder to get anything done there.
Yeah, Zarini went there alone last time and got the exile forced out really early, so maybe they can play off of having just the damage to absorb. But we'll see the other sides here of this. EU5 heads with a lot of ultimates. I feel like it might not even matter. They could just get a assert dominance time and space combo, right, to open the door.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially with just how grouped they are in apartments. I feel like it get pretty big value.
That was a heart attack there, honestly, for me. I would have freaked out if I was in that game right now. But looks like they send Zin here instead. But now this kind of is making this not the best assert dominance in the world. It's not fighting anybody. It sends Zarini into their own backline, but he'll be healed up, and now this is kind of letting Rosvet run away with the start. Cataclysm, it looks like, finds effectively nothing, and Yoinko desperately trying to save this. He gets one, but it's still a 2-2. Yoinko now on the rim, trying to fight Vixar, running through the team. Simpson getting so aggressive into Yoinko. All the cooldowns not really connecting, and they have to go play this very slow, but ammo in favor of Simsi. He tries to run away. 50 HP remaining, but Vixar looking for the linebacker tackle, maybe to follow it up, but Jabba will save him. I know 90% for Rosvet, and they're looking like they're going to get the next pick as well.
Yeah, I mean, excellent use of counter ult from Zarini there. You see the Ashe go into your apartment. She doesn't really get much with it, but actually, Shaolin trying to make it happen for his team, but it looks like with Zarini, with the Fury on the point, this is too much to handle, too much HP to burn through. A couple more shots of the ult.
We'll see if they can make it happen, though. The aggressive arm will make it. Will something happen? Yoinko is still delaying. Almost could kill Phobos here. Vixar here does get the kill, but where's the next overtime? He has to touch, and there's a guillotine in the way. Solar Armor will keep him alive for now with Ashe so close by. Vixar falls. I don't know if he can get by. Body blocks don't matter in the end of the day. Shield will keep him up for another moment. King Nick, though, in the perfect position to stop this, and no one can break by and get onto him. So Rosfed, they win their first mid of this game. Of the back of, I think, just rough tank ultimates by EU5.
Yeah, I mean, it got a little hectic there at the end, but overall, Rasta was in control almost that entire time. They had better ult usage from their tanks. They had really good control with the NR, just AFK on point. So overall, I mean, Rasta looking in control. The tides have definitely turned for them in this game.
Yeah, they want to be able to keep it going, and the aggression will definitely look that way. Seismic Crash deep into it. Everybody is so low. This is one of the downsides of Genos. How do you heal your entire team up? No one's chasing. They're so scared. You get so many kills if you just held W, but you let them re-heal, luckily. The cleanup possible on the other side. King Nick doesn't realize that Kofigs is there on the Shaolin, but he will die. Vixar trying to delay. Guillotine might clean him up if they get one more point of damage onto him, but they let Vixar live. But Yoinko will fall. This card's getting close if possible. Might have to contest with this assert dominance.
Yeah, I mean, not losing anyone there through all that chaos with the Shaolin in your backlane with Rom. Pretty massive, but now it's up to Ashe to try to sustain this out. Kill the Andrew, maybe? You're best to hold this. You gotta throw everything at this stuff.
Yeah, they're holding it now, and low health for them. Vixar actually does a great job piercing through to King Nick, knocking him up over the block and making him get a kill, but the U5 heads now we'll stabilize off this. They'll be able to go forward, charge some of their ults, and actually, as Irene says, oh, Vixar, hold on, I like you. I'll let you get away for free with that setback as he'll fall too. And the U5 heads, they're going to have to get aggressive here, and that's kind of just what their comp does, right, with these double offenses.
Yeah, definitely. But on the side of Rosva, you do have Fear, you do have Zarene's ult, and you have a kill on the Yoinkos. So, I mean, they're going to look to snowball this in, fear the high ground, fear the point, kill the Rom, look to push this in, win 4-2.
Do you think they can follow up on the kills on a feared high ground if they send that Dread Serpent into the back?
I think you maybe just fear a tank like that, but it didn't even matter, didn't even get feared, but now you snowball this.
Yeah, they'll be able to keep this pressure up. But again, Genos can't keep them healthy, so if they just keep getting cleaved with this AoE, they'll be able to do quite a bit. But Yoinko went up with an Accursed Arm, triple dashes. It looks like he's still just hovering there, going into the back line, just trying to find the Strix. Point blank on the low ground, though. Since he almost gets killed, Yoinko did a great job on that trade, but it wasn't enough. The coach in the back, though, Dambas is alive. Possible trying to buy time, but Guillotine will be in the way. Now it's just Vixar standing between EU5 heads in second place here, doing what he can, running through, cleaving them, but a Seismic Crash will actually miss. It looked like onto Vixar. They still have two on the point. Scouron falls. Vixar falls. Simsaloo going for a third here on a Yoinko reversal, buying another time. They're just barely saving this from the setback on the invisible person. Wait, Passio there. He's able to replace as well, but he's going so low. They still have the invisible Shaolin. Passio buying so much time when the wall comes up. Oh. That's not enough. Vixar comes back with the Cataclysm. He finds another. They kill Ethereal. Vixar, though, rewind. He has enough resilience to stay alive as he dashes in a circle, just running the laps. He's going to wait. He found a kill. It was 2 kills traded for them. A third one and a 6th one. This overtime. Just Serene left on the point with Hobas trying to save him. He's getting so low. Second chance to back to full. But the rest of the respawns, I don't think they're close enough here, Hero. And somehow, some way, EU5 heads just barely hang on to life and give themselves one more chance in these finals.
I mean, just massive contests coming up from the tanks there. Didn't even have to use Astral. Just Rom came back with his ult, was able to kill Ethereal. Just Yoinko stalling on point. Shaolin was able to get back just like right before the cart pushed in. I mean, it couldn't go any better than that. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, I might have to wipe some saliva off of my mic after that one. I started foaming at the mouth, honestly.
Cosmic Rap God. Solo cast. I can't believe it.
Had enough practice with that, but I think a lot of the ultimates that came out there by the end, right? Look at this. I mean, they're gonna have the Dread Serpent again, the Guillotine again, because those are the earliest ones. But EU5 heads, they still have this combo, this assert dominance, this time in space, and that could be one of the most impactful things coming into this one.
Yeah, I mean, Rosva coming up on the fear has Guillotine and a couple more shots, but it doesn't look like they're gonna look for the 3 time in space yet. We're able to find King Nick with any ults. Simply going in on the back. Might elect to use Zol here to finish Genos off? No.
I don't think you use it for a
No,
non-tank,
he's
but
safe.
you have to use it at that point as Ophigs manages to get that. But if the rest of Rosvet can leave, give themselves another chance, it can work. But Zarini has to be so careful here because Vixar's so aggressive. Yoinko's so aggressive too. Somehow Zarini will live another second, and this Dread Servant was kind of a godtier bait here. Late Fear also onto him, but they still have point control, and they still have an assert dominance.
Yeah, you were forced to fear there so Zarini doesn't die, and I thought it like didn't get anything, but it actually ended up being big because Yoinko couldn't get out, and Elite for Big Star.
Wait a minute, they might get through. They get 2 kills here, somehow managing to get this retake, and this early cap time is going to help significantly. With Genos jumping off the map, I think smart decision. With Pasiwo, though, he wasted that assert dominance back, so the only retouch is going to be Rom. Rom can't match with Zarini here, right? If Rom bumps into Zarini, it's over, because that setback ruins the chance. But Zarini just randomly spams the setback exile, hoping that'll be the difference maker here. In overtime, Vixar actually made it through, but Yoinko dies on this first arm trade, 1-for-1 on the point. Now, but the kills are all going the way of Rosvet. Instead, Pasiwo wants to find another, but it looks like Vixar manages to get by here. Cataclysm will come out and will catch both tanks, only stunning Zarini, though. Second chance to get used as Pasiwo falls. EU5 heads trying to have another miracle, maybe, but I don't think they have the time to make it happen. Yoinko's in front. Simsi will find that kill. Shaolin trying to make it desperately, but the wall is in the way, and even after that miracle, EU5 heads couldn't turn it around all the way, and Rosvet will win this first week, and these roster changes really seem to be paying off for them.
I mean, definitely. You see, like, Zarini and Sims, I think just that combo is really strong. I love the way Simsulu plays. I loved what he was doing there at the end, trying to, like, live from the Ash, trying to use the wall that Zarini set for him. Just that synergy, super important, are really good mechanical players, and I think Rosset are looking really good, and I'm excited to see more of them as they play more together.
And I think EU5 heads were looking good as well. I mean, that game being as close as it was, they had to be skilled. I will say I did kind of like the low flying accursed arms that Yoinko kept going for. It's kind of a you never see it happen that way, but I liked the idea of it. Definitely will catch some people off guard. Hopefully we can look at the stats for that game and see the numbers here from that. Simsaloo, top deaths, but top kills, 20 for his team, tying Yoinko on the other side. But I think the tanks on both teams had a fantastic performance here.
Definitely. The tanks were kind of key there, especially for Ross, but I think Ethereal just constantly on point, 60%, even though they constantly lost the initial point fight, that retake was so important. And then on the retake, it's kind of a team effort. You had Phobas fearing, you had Simsulu getting to the back, making space, and then, of course, the NR just touching on point at the very end. It's overall good stuff.
Look at all that damage dealt by EU5. Look at the damage dealt by everybody, by the way. I was about to say just EU5 heads, but Simsi, shoutouts to him, out damaging King Nick on that Strix, but Kofigs managing to get top damage in the game. Vixar actually also out damaging his Andro somehow, the Rom and the Ash with a fantastic game there, both also absorbing a ton of damage. So love to see some good tank play. But Rosvet, I think that Damba was a huge difference maker for them. All of that, all of the fears, all of what's been happening there was a huge key to Rosvet turning fights around.
Yeah, the fears and the sustain, just kind of making sure no one really gets caught out and dies on those defenses. You saw EU5 heads on the defenses, they were kind of just on the back foot on the defense that they had. It was kind of just scrappy because you only have a Genos, right? You can't heal up Rom and Ash and everyone else on your team back to full. So you kind of just have to scrap out, get what you can, get whatever trades, and come back from Swan.
Yeah, you pretty much have to win the fights right away for that kind of composition to work. And it was working at the start, and it worked for some miracles a little bit later, but not enough to really keep things in their control. The longer fights definitely ended up going in favor of, I think, Rosvet there. But good on Rosvet, a new roster. They managed to take the first week here. They're going to have the most points heading forward into weeks 2, 3, and 4, the closed bracket when that does happen. That was all for EU, though. It was a great game there, and hope to see even better on the other side of this break in North America. Welcome back in, everybody, to the Paladin Central Minor League. We have flown across the pond. It only took 5 minutes. Surprisingly enough, we are living in the future, truly. And we're here in the North American Finals. Not enough time today, unfortunately, to watch the North American semis, but we get to watch Bobby versus Weimer. Yeah, thank you. It's funny, actually. I'd like you to spell my last name right at the very least, Jithins, because they spelt it wrong on purpose when they named it. But these two teams have both changed their names to my namesake, and the team that was my last name decided to spell it wrong for whatever reason. So I'm going to call them Weimer, as everyone who has ever called me on the phone to solicit anything from me has said, instead of the real way to pronounce it. But Hero, looking at these teams, these teams previously were Speaker Lobster versus Monkeys would be the name, but before the name changes, do you know anything about these teams to break into this from about the players?
Oh, I mean, I played against all of them in Pugs and Tier 2 last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Some of them have been playing since before I've been playing, and just all solid players like Bagel, ASDF. I know Merc's kind of new and he's a console guy, and I think he's pretty solid as well. And then on the other side, we got Sioran, a little bit more unknowns on the side of Bobby, but still definitely names to watch out for.
Yeah, definitely. Fresher names. And every single member of Bobby has changed their name. I will tell you what their original name was once, and from then on, I'm going to refer to them by their new alias. But we can head to picks and pans while I break that down for you as we slowly go into map 1 here. But the members of Team Bobby on the right side, previously Monkeys, all of them have changed their names, but Joe Mama is Majesty, Mr. Hardfeeder is Pick Pip, Seol X is Seolrun, Angie 2020 is Aura 2020, and Stalling Radvocate is Mage Monkey. So those are the 5 members. I'm going to call them by their current aliases from here on out. On the side of Team Weimer, the only person whose name has changed from the previous phase of the PCML is Impersonation, who was previously Bond Scott, and we'll be calling him Bond Scott for the remainder of this game. But Zin will be the first ban for Team Weimer. It is kind of a pretty hard change, because Zin, I don't think we've seen be bannable in most regions, actually.
Yeah, I've never really seen a Zin, especially first ban. Maybe they've got a player on the enemy team that they know is just going to want to prioritize the Zin. But Vivian, a little bit more standard ban, especially against Merc. You know he plays those console hit skins, so just take it out.
I think you also just have to ban it on second pick, because even PC console, you're banning Vivian, right? I think it's still impressive there, but double flanker banned by them. So I think, is this still aiming towards some flank aggression? Team Weimer was previously Team Speaker Lobster. They were the team that liked to dive. I think maybe this is just them looking towards what could be pocketed instead of necessarily removing the pocket characters themselves.
You kind of thin the pool out a little bit. You get some of them on your own, and then you put Bobby on like kind of the back foot in terms of what they can get for flankers. So Torvald ban makes sense.
Yeah, for North America, that is definitely to be expected. Vivian, Torvald are probably just the standard second pick bans. I think that is the modern day Makoa Tor from the entirety of the PPL in 2019 when you want to get that happen. But we'll look at the first pick now from Team Weimer. I think looking at this region, I was going to say Genos. It could also be Rom, but Genos for the damage boost for the pocket, I think it is a perfect filler for a first pick. You can even get Grover to fill it in like Pickle Pepper do, but either way, they have a very flexible draft from here on out.
Yeah, I mean, Genos kind of just opens you up for so much here. There's still Victor on the board. Victor Genos for Merc would be pretty solid. It is Jack Falls, so you can't pair it with that Grover, like you said. So just good first pick all around. You don't lock yourself in anything too crazy.
I think they can pick the Grover almost anywhere, at the very least. I mean, maybe not like Fish Market, I guess, but I think you can pick it up in a lot of different ways. But Corvus will be the first pick for Team Bobby. They will have the secondary pocket, not to have it be combined with the Genos, so they don't have that insane pocket potential on whatever DPS they have. But Rom will be the second one. I mentioned that Rom was going to be early here in the rotation in North America. It makes a lot of space, even into Genos. You have to turn around and deal with the Rom, and in a coordinated team, it can make a big difference.
Yeah, definitely. Rom just kind of forces the issue. You force CDs, you can get away with it. You can play around with the Genos and force his grip. Just overall, really solid off-tank pick.
Yeah, agreed. I think, I mean, you can play main tank. You see how Woodknock plays it, where he plays this kind of hybrid style on the objective and off. But Strix will be the pickup. Get something from Merc that he will... Is that Merc's team? Yes, it is. Okay, I had to make sure. Again, both of them changed their names, so it's hard to keep up sometimes. But get that from Merc, something he's very comfortable on, and an aura to fill in. So best main tank, arguably. I think maybe they want a second healer for it now. I know that Inara can play with only Genos, but it is definitely a little bit easier to have that cushion of that second support to back it up.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like having like a Grover or something like that to supplement the Inara would be pretty big, especially on Jag, where you kind of want to play around that main tank and kind of just
Pip too.
play around that. That's true too. Pip, a little bit scarier, but it is good against what they have so far on Bobby.
If they grab a second DPS that's also not a hit scan, I think it could work. Also, having the evil mojo for the ROM would even be a great pickup there. Just having that second support plus that, plus also Catalyst plus Luminary is a great little burst of damage there. But Cassie is currently what's being covered. Will be good to take away from that. And Nando as the next one. So it's Fernando main tank will do decently well with that Corvus, but Inara will bully still, I think, into him. The Immortal though will be a great answer to a Pip if that is the way that they go.
That's true. I don't think they might not go for the Pip here because you kind of just have.
Yeah, I am kind of just like pushing this Pip story, even though I think it'd be cool here. But
I think it'd be cool.
You should probably get Grover.
Yeah, or they might not even. You probably go for a Grover here. I think the Grover would round this out nicely, especially with the Tyra. Just help the Inara out so much. Just win off point fight.
Yeah, I think for sure. I mean, they could even go into the third DPS if they wanted to, and it'll be Lex. I think that also makes a lot of sense. Discovery combined with that insane lifesteal card that he has, paired with Luminary. Just every single stat boost in the game is just so crammed into this character that he is completely, just get a mark on him and he'll do whatever he wants as long as Bobby doesn't look at him.
Yeah, and I mean, I assume that's Merc on the Lex, which I would hate to play against that team comp on the side of a Weimer, Genos boosted console Lex, and then Dredge for Bobby last pick. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, for my namesake, they're definitely doing it well, having that Dredge as that last pick. But I don't like it into this. No. I mean, I'm a Dredge fan, and I really don't know how I feel about it into this draft here. Having it would have to be Scuttle, right, if you're going to be able to play against the pressure that they have. But Scuttle has to scale, and the comp by Weimer doesn't scale at all. We'll go into the game. We'll take a look at the talents once we're in there and see exactly what direction they decide to go with it. I definitely want to see the talent from the Dredge. And it is Scuttle, but if Team Weimer just runs them down and gets him without having a chance, then it could work. But it's actually going to be Bonscott on the Lex instead. So no controller Lex, instead leaning on controller Strix. And I think that might just be comfort for Merc.
Yeah, controller Strix is also really good. I know on my team, we probably would have the same layout. The Strix...
would you bust out the Lex?
Maybe not if Gogurt's not on it, but... Yeah. But yeah, I don't think this Dredge is going to get much value with this Lex and Co just running at him with Genos Pocket.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it can still work decently, especially when you're death falling like this, but immediately Dead is Toa, but the rest of the team is walled off. Two of them are isolated, but somehow still Team Bobby, even when being split in half, are managing to win this here. The damage from the Dredge will clean up the last two of Bonscott and Asdif. And now they'll be continuing to walk forward and take a little bit more space. But Merc needs a chance to breathe after that one. What in the world just happened? Yeah. And hopefully you can tell me how they managed to turn that split fight around.
I mean, I have no idea. First time I've seen both teams just go Sun and then immediately just Fireball, and I'm assuming like a Dredge bomb or something, and he's just gone. And then the wall at that point didn't matter because Seal was just in there popping off, I guess. Yeah, interesting stuff. First time I've ever seen that personally.
In the core of them with the Cassie and the Dredge, it's a lot of burst damage, so kind of tough to live through. But we'll see what else they can get away with here, if they can even make it back in. Asdif is coming around the side, and Bonscott does have the rotation onto the ROM, so that's a lot of lifesteal and bonus damage that he'll be able to get onto him. It'll be very hard to take him down, so Stalingrad will have to run away, but the first pick, it's going towards Team Bobby. It's still a 1-for-1. Seolren gets the next, and this Cassie is just so hard to stop right now.
Yeah, I mean, Seolren kind of just doing whatever he wants. They were only able to get the Inara in, so even though she got overtime, there wasn't really much to do after that. So it's kind of just Team Bobby in control. Dredge is actually doing a surprising amount. They should be able to get more controls here. For some reason, Inara's back on point.
As if it's a bold strategy. I don't like it. He's buying time, I guess, but he's feeding them so much ult.
Yeah,
on this cart now. Team Bobby is definitely getting closer to this Immortal, to this Kraken, to the Cataclysm. All these ults that will be, I think, a big deal. But I mean, they're just peeking them out. This Genos healing is just not enough, and they keep overextending.
Yeah, I mean, Merc is just taking shots at them, and they're just getting hit by blast shots and casting shots, and they're just constantly half HP or 1 HP. With only Genos heals, it's pretty hard to sustain your defense if that's constantly going on.
When you have Genos solo healing in this kind of composition, you have to kind of move out at the same time. You can't rely on a sustained fight because the Corvus will win that almost for sure. But this Immortal, though, no one, again, is close enough to follow up. These teams are playing so disengaged here, but Bonscott will find the first onto the Nando, and the rest of them are going to fall as well. Bond finds a second with 2 going to the others. And now Weimer, they managed to stabilize. We'll see how far forward they can go, but at the end of the day, they'll still have to play around their Strix and the range that he can cover.
Yeah, you have to play around the Strix. Hopefully, I want to see him get a little bit more aggro and make some more shots on the Dredge, especially because you have like Flex and Nara that are making constant space for you. This feels like Nara's kind of playing solo so far.
Yeah, from now, Asdef definitely a little bit disconnected, and that's not how you want to play it with the Genos. It's a timer, right? Because, like, eventually the Inara will die with only a Genos heal, so you have to make the most of it, and I feel like the team is just not making the most of it a lot of the time here as Asdef trades into Rom, but will get cut out by Hard Feeder. They still have to, they're kind of just waiting for the respawns now on the side of Team Weimer, but they have to get people to come back. They have to get their team, or else they can't actually walk out and defend.
Yeah, I mean, solid trades overall because you got both tanks inside of Bobby, but still, kind of got to wait for Asgif to come out before you can even peek. There you go, you find Dredge, that's a really good kill from Bonscott. The rest of the offense kind of just falls apart after that, I think, after regroup.
Yeah, but I think maybe they can find a way to hold on, though. At the very least, the tanks just can't peek. I don't know why Joe would just peek and take half his health and damage when no one's alive. Wait for them to push Q. At this point, you know there's a Strix on the other side, but Fear is back. They should be able to contest, I think. Honestly, if you're smart, get off the card if you're DNR, and they do. But it's a 1-for-1 trade right now in the back. Bagel falls as well, and Bobby might have a chance to move this in. With Bonscott falling as well, and now he's stuck at this very end. Asdef, though, this time, for the first time, he runs away instead of contesting this cart. Smurf tries to get in deep, but just pulls him away and ends up dying so late in this fight. Asdef will contest, but this wall is already down.
Yeah, I mean, massive stagger there from Merc. He thought he could try to run the Cassie with the flashbang. Ends up paying for his life pretty spread out. Right now it's Asdef by himself. Bonscott actually wants to kill on that Cassie. It might get Rom as well, but Asdef falls on the other side. Nano shield, trying to throw everything at it. Bonscott throws it on ult, doesn't get much. Looks like Toa might be able to... Yeah, Merc and Toa kind of saving this for their team. But yeah, it's pretty scrappy.
They're gonna hold on here. There's no way that this ROM can live any longer, but is Bon on controller? I feel like the fact that he's just not turning when he's dashing at all, or the fact that he when he turns to fight someone and someone runs past him, he's just not willing to turn and fight them. I'm thinking that he might actually be on it, but yeah. I wish in PPC I can see if someone's declared that, but no. Okay, so Bonscott is on controller here. To confirm that the only DPS on PC on the side of Team Weimer is Toa. So the Tyra will be the one for that. But look at this, ultimate wise, they used Kraken, they used Entropic Breach, but there's still some strong ultimates up for Team Bobby.
Yeah, I mean, you still have the Rommel, right? And Fernando, which is going to be pretty big if they opt in to fight on the left side again. And this time they don't get a perfect split there. I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see how they play it. I definitely don't think Toa is going to match them again as they run to play inside. If they just play outside, though, like if you play that in that one-room strategy, then hey, look, when you play it like this, you'll be able to hold on with Bonscott here now looking for the flank around the side. We'll see how long. Majesty can't really live that long with this. A lot of damage coming in, immediately destroyed, and now don't meet them. Just play away from them. They don't really have the range to challenge you other than just the cast.
Yeah, Asdef's kind of taking a lot of unnecessary damage here, so it's looking a little sketchy, but I think overall, Weimer is in control. It's looking good if Bonscott is wishing to find some extra kills here, especially on Cassie, but Nando's back, finds an excellent through time and space there to find Angie.
Yeah, the fact that the healer's down is going to make things a lot tougher because the Dredge, I think, really needs it, having no self-sustain because they're lacking the hurl. It really is just down to the teleporter sustain here, where they get the touch, that they have it for now, and they spend the Immortal, so Asdef has to play so careful because they might beat out. They're all kind of pushing it in the open, but look at this full heal by Bonscott thanks to the lifesteal off of the ROM. Should find Cassie as well, 2 for Bon. See how much more he can get with him collapsing onto Joe as well. I really wish I had said just Joe instead of that, but I can't take that back now with Nando living in the corner as long as he can here. Makes it to the cart, ends up going down, and Team Weimer, they get the mid off of just a much better start.
Bonscott played that pretty perfectly. I mean, I was a little scared when he dashed into a ROM and the ROM ulted, but he was able to speed past them, get behind them, turned around pretty slowly, but still turned around and got damage and kills on him. Really good run for me.
Do you think now, do you regret not having Bonscott pull out the sticks when he subbed in for you at land?
I mean, if he would have told us, he was just go on the sticks. Put him on the Lex.
Discovery Lex would have been pretty phenomenal there, but right now they're trying to hold here on the side. They have Pip cleaning up too here. Mr. Hard Feeder with the old name coming out from me as they run it down here. Weimer has to back up for now, but once they get everyone again, if they just stack everyone in, a lot of damage boosting should be able to catch someone as they go. With the firebombs in the way, Joe trying to contest it, but kind of unnecessary damage again, and the crossfire will catch them out.
Yeah, I mean, massive damage there. Dredgel doesn't really do much anymore to stop that aggression, especially if you're just in an R and just walk through it or you stand in it. So, good use of the Tyrell there. Just force Dredge and Toe out of first. Stagger Rom here a little bit. Actually, Stagger himself. Good job.
Just another moment there for them, honestly, with Bonscott getting a couple kills there. But Merc stole that last one, and we'll take a look at how they position here with the defensive side here. I think it's a tough push for them though, because I think the damage from the Dredge will make it a little harder for them to walk through the chokes as they try to come through. But Dredge is starting to get close to deft hands 3, so the Scuttle will actually work now. It definitely falls off. It's definitely tough to play a little bit till then, but they're taking a lot of damage. They have to all go through it once, and again, they're just playing a little bit too disconnected.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit too disconnected. Not really much in terms of like engagement rules. You know, there you go. Now he's getting aggro with Lex. Maybe able to find something. Nana has no shield, but the bombs and everything else coming out from the side of Bobby is just too much to really do much. They do have another fight here though. They regroup in a second.
Yeah, and we'll see if they back up. Asif can't die here, I think, if they want a chance to get another fight. The DR for them luckily lasts long enough for them to get around the corner. But again, they need to come together. They just can't go in the same choke point here until I decides to pause to figure out the next move. Again, maybe Merc's controller ran out of batteries. We'll never know. But how do you think they're going to go through with the Dredge playing on the far right side? What would be your game plan be to get in? Do you just ignore the Dredge, try to fight someone else?
I don't think you can ignore him per se. You probably just force him out with an RDR on the wall and then shove with Lex, maybe kill him or force him back into spawn. Hope you don't die on your way there. Push on the left during that. Hope for the best.
Yeah, we'll see how it can go here. Stolenrad trying to contest on the right. Actually wants to go deep, but gets grabbed in the middle, and they're going to spin a crossfire just to insta-give the ROM. He can't live through that, but they trade their own tank for it. And now they're going to have to win these DPS fights. Bonscott finds the Corvus. Just playing here on the right side. Great flank by Bon on this Lex. He should be able to find another. His sense is very low, but he's able to turn fast enough to take down Seol, and they'll roll it right through. So Team Weimer, they cap it there. They make it work, but no ultimate spent at all by Bobby, and that's going to be their saving grace here on this next fight.
Yeah, no ultimates to 3. I mean, I still think Weimer's playing the comp pretty well, and I think they should be able to get a lot of value to this Lex and Arrow, and maybe just combo with an Genos. But overall, great flanks from Bonscott, and hopefully he keeps it up, finds more of those solo kills, just kind of keeps being a thorn in their side. While they're focused on Toei's aggression, Bonscott's in the back.
Yeah, I think as long as they can keep that going, they can just roll this one right through. That's definitely the got to be the game plan for them here. The Corvus has the ult though, and has as long as he doesn't get stunned, he should be able to put them out of the execute threshold. Would be my guess for how they plan to counteract that. Right, even with the cauterize up, they should be able to just get over it, unless there's a lot of AOE damage coming in. But early split this time though. Bobby playing inside, and they might catch out Asdif early. But here comes the seismic crash. They spend the immortal to counter it. It doesn't really find anybody, and now they have to find another way to make the law work. As Team Weaver staying split, but a stun into the Kraken. Every ult spent onto Asdif, but it was a big distraction. Merc flank on the side. Strix, somehow a sniper that works even better at close range, will clean up too. Looks like Feeder might die as well, playing up to his namesake as he runs into the entire team, just waiting to buy time here. Stolenrad will fall on point as well, as Bonscott ults nobody. You need to move forward, get some dismounts, and try to deny another fight, but Team Bobby's already pretty far forward.
Yeah, I mean, Merc and Bonscott played that super well, but now you have 0 ults to Corvus ult, and then maybe a Ramo if they build it up. So it's still looking doable for the side of Bobby. Just gotta maybe get a pick, maybe don't die here to Merc on a side flank here. Like it's possible with Corvus. There you go, you find Bonscott, now you can push him. Merc has to go big here, or else it's not looking too great for the chances of Weimer since they have flank mechanic.
Yeah, I mean, there's a great positioning here by Merc, I think, to split them, and now they're looking for him with the ROM, but he could just run away from him. He honestly should cancel and reuse the stealth so we can get that second speed boost, but Majesty literally, Stolenrad literally not in the fight here. This is Mage Monkey, not Majesty. Stuff in my head, but I can get this OT right now. Bonscott will get the first, and Merc is still behind them because of that distraction. Bond coming in, gets 2, will get the third, or at least he'll give himself away to the fires. Aura goes down to him as well. This Lex, such a fantastic pick. A full wipe on Team Bobby and Team Weimer. Run away with this one with all 5 of them sitting on the point. Literally no reason to zone because of how well the timing was of that. And their draft was just so strong. The fact that they got Lex last pick, I think shows that I think Team Bobby needs to think about their drafts, because that Dredge, maybe if he's Hurl, he can poke a little bit better, but the Scuttle Dredge against a super aggressive team, it doesn't have the time to scale.
Yeah. And I mean, could the DPS from the side of the team that won was doing really well. I mean, that final point fight, you saw them go to the back while everyone was fighting in dark. Merc was just sitting there constantly putting people at half HP, while Nara was in there with a wall. I mean, just overall great playstyle from Bonskai and Merc, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they played well around the comp that they had. I think it was tough at the start with Asdif. As soon as Asdif went, oh, I don't feed, they started winning every fight. Like literally, they just only lost because Asdif kept running in completely alone without the rest of the team. But the tanks, I think, had a hard time on the side of Team Bobby. I think Joe and Stalling Red were a little bit too split from each other, low on the damage charts. Actually, somehow Nando out damaging Rom. Really hard game for that Rom into those picks.
Yeah. I mean, you saw at the end there, Rom went back for Strix. Strix just kept playing with them, and then Team Weimer was able to just come back for a retake with Rom just in spawn doing nothing essentially. So it's overall a rough game for.
Yeah, I think just a tough decision though by them, and I think Bagel played it really smart. I think Rom maybe just had to play a little bit slower, but the fact is that was just a hard counter draft with the controllers. The Strix, the Lex and Tyra specifically into them. You don't even need Burn Monster. Just Rom can't wait, right? Rom spends the dash, gets gripped. If he holds onto the dash, then he just stands in a firebomb, and you can see how much that padded up to his stats here. 115,000 for the Tyra. Great look from him. And now we're going to be heading into map number 2 sooner rather than later here. But and Team Weimer, that was their map pick, and they looked solid on it. So Team Bobby now will get their own choice and be able to maybe look a little bit better if they're playing on a map that they're comfortable with. We can head into Picks and Bans to see where they want, and we can head into Picks and Bans to also see my name put together correctly on the top of the screen.
We've achieved Bobby Weimer finally.
We are finally truly here.
Splitstone, a little bit bigger of a map. I think that's good. Take them a little bit out of their element. I mean, they played the Lex triple DPS console small map comp super well, so I like going to Splitstone here.
Yeah, I think it's definitely smart to mix it up at least a little bit. We'll see if the bans are any different. I think Strix gotten rid of makes sense. You want to make Merc a little bit uncomfortable. Don't give him Strix. Also, Strix arguably one of the best DPS in the game right now, so also makes sense to just get rid of it if you're looking to first pick one of the more common first picks, whether it be Vivian, whether it be Torvald, or whether it be one of those pockets.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Strix, a really strong pick, really strong in the hands of Merc as well. Just a good takeaway. Maybe opt for taking away some of the pockets as well if you're Weimer. But yeah, so far pretty standard.
Yeah, we'll see. I think it's probably going to be like a Vivian Genos ban would be my guess from Weimer, and they start with a Vivian at the very least to make me feel a little bit better about that. But the second ban for them, do they just continue to target them? It looks like Ruckus instead. So definitely a target ban. I think a little bit towards Bonscott on their side, him not being able to get that high ground and spam down. But they still have Rom open, they still have Ash open. It's not like all aggressive off tanks have been removed from the game.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Yeah, you're kind of forced to be a Torvald there. You can opt to get the Genis if you're Bobby, but I think the Ruckus target ban is pretty good.
Oh, you mean the team?
Oh, but yeah, I'd get it too.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense on the first pick here. It worked really well for Weimer last game, so get it and have that just enabler basically that can be paired in a lot of different ways. But Corvus is also still up. They're still going to go for that Genos, though. I think it's just the better one. North America seems to agree. It's a little bit different in all the other regions, but Genos is, I think, a consistent one there. And now Team Weimer, if they're going to go for the console pickups again, I think, what do you do here? Is it Victor and a tank? Is it Victor and Nara? Is it Victor and... Victor Rom would probably be the most NA first two I could think of here.
Maybe a Corvus Victor if you don't want to opt for a tank here. You don't really care about them getting Rom. Actually, go for the Rom. Yeah, I mean, the Rom's solid. You give them Victor, but I think if you're confident in your Rom player that you're just going to be on their high ground, be in their face, it's not a big deal if they get Victor Genos, right?
Yeah, and this map I think is a little bit better for the forcing Rom early, because on the last map, I mean, how do you get away from Genos, right? Yeah. Genos is always going to be close enough to the team where you are going to get gripped. But on this map, you could just ignore him. You could just be on the other side of the map, and he can't make it to you in time. So I think a little bit easier to play that composition here. Definitely would say Bobby should focus on some DPS here. Victor, I think, would be a smart pickup. There'll be the Inara, though, again, paired with Genos, but it worked well for Team Weimer last time. So I don't know if I hate the combination, and they do also get the Victor to fill that out.
I don't hate it, but I think there's more. I guess if you want to hide your DPS, right? I guess you just go get the Inara there. I mean, just secure your main tank. Don't give up any more info. So I like it.
Yeah, what about the? I mean, if they want Barrack, maybe right, they could just hold on to that later if that's where they want to end up. But Andro will be the pickup for Team Weimer to pair with this. The dive is already fairly solid as long as the ROM, I'm assuming piloted by Bon Scott, can get onto that high ground with the Andro. I think great to make it onto that high ground as well to follow up. But the second pick here, probably, I was going to say maybe their main tank, but it'll be Kinessa instead, and we might even see ROM solo tank. They've left that option open for themselves as well.
I think ROM solo tank here with the Kinessa Andro would be pretty solid as long as Bon Scott or whoever's piloting the ROM doesn't die too easily. I mean, you do have Victor Genos, but it's looking kind of rough for the ROM if you do that, especially now with the Grover pick. But, you know, maybe it'll still work if you get strong backline DPS for your last pick.
Very pickled pepper draft by Bobby right now, though. Like, this is a very pickled pepper style of draft with the Genos, Grover, Inara, Victor. The only thing that would fill it out, I guess, would be another Fitzgen if you wanted to go that way. But it'll be Zin instead. So Guillotine, interesting, I think, by them if they're going to be playing this Zin. I don't even know how I like it really into this matchup. I think the Zin Raw matchup is tougher by him unless they have a team around him to play it. But I guess it could slow down the flank, right? If Weimer gets another flanker, if they end up getting someone, but it'll be Khan as the filler instead. Overpower, good here, but I don't know how I feel about that. I think this is pushing me a little more in favor of prioritizing Team Bobby.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I like the Grover Genos draft. Like you said, very pickled pepper style. And I don't really like the tanks pairing on the side of Weimer.
Yeah, I don't know if how I feel about the Raw and Khan. I think you might want more aggression, but we'll see here as we can head into Splitstone Quarry here between Team Bobby and Team Weimer on each sides of this. We'll see. Talents are any different. We do see Yomi coming out of feeder instead, and other side, nothing too surprising either. So it will be Bon Scott actually playing the Khan. Unsure if he's still on the controller. I know you have to declare before draft. I'm sure someone on Team Weimer will tell me which way he was going with this. Since he picked Khan, I'm going to take a wild guess and say he's probably still on the controller. As someone who's newer to the sticks, you don't really want to be playing those non-hit scans. It's not unplayable, but it's definitely tougher for them, I think, here. And how do you think with this ROM Khan, how do they even approach this first fight against a team that'll probably be pretty stacked like Team Bobby?
I think you gotta just get in there, hope you don't get singled out if you're ROM by a Grover cripple, and just do your best to just collapse as a team if they're all in quarry or if they're all just sitting main or something.
Yeah, I think
you see hard feeder against ROM. I mean, ROM, they're kind of just opting for a little more passive of a playstyle right now.
I mean, getting chipped down immediately, because how does he get in? He has to wait for Bon Scott to cross that gap, right? Yeah. He has to wait for Bon Scott to make that ground up, but cleaved up top, but they're just not moving. It's just a complete stalemate here. Neither team really wants to contest this objective yet, as Merc and Bon end up flanking and getting around the far side. No other space made, though. They don't commit any further. They're just going to let Merc kind of retake some of this ground, but they're still stuck here stationary, and neither team wants to get on this objective.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bobby's playing it really well. ROM's really when it actually falls. And, I mean, Merc can't really do anything because of the fear of that Grover cripple into a Victor just double headshotting you, right? And there it is. That's 3 dead to the side of Weimer, and it's looking to be their point fight as of now.
Yeah, they managed to win it off of Bobby managed to win it off of that slow game, and Weimer will have to fall back. Corvus actually knocked pretty low by that grenade hitting them, but the kills end up continue to come in here for them as they want to get aggressive on this ROM. I think Azef may be, again, a little bit too far ahead of his team because he's taking more damage than they want. But look at this. The snipers literally keep them off the point. They cannot cap. And Joe cleans up on Merc there, so Weimer just, again, unable to stand here. The Kinessa's buying time, but it's not actually winning them the fight.
Yeah, I mean, solid teamwork there from Natsuo Renade into Joe Mama, just pushing that Andro. Solid teamwork. Come out with the first point fight. Yeah, I mean, I really like Bobby's comp. I feel like the Andro's not able to do much, if anything at all, into this comp right now. Yeah, how he's playing it.
Yeah, I think the Victor and the Grover stacking is what's making it really difficult because you just can't kill either of them, really. There's just so much self-healing on top of it there. But we can see them now taking some ground here, a little bit more isolated, and the Cataclysm will catch one, but he's still close enough to Stalingrad where the peel will be there. It's still a 1-for-1, but they're going to have to push into a Kinessa, which should be able to clean up on them if they're not careful.
Oh, double kill for Angie. Solid use of ults here from the set of Bobby. Everyone all across the board.
Yeah, the time and space connects. They were unable to move in time, and Bonscott is wasting way too much time standing off of the objective, getting gripped there by Angie on the low ground, and they see what else they can do here to break through. But it looks like Asdiv's set up. How would you want to dive this? I feel like it's really tough to get in here as a Raw.
I think it's tough for sure, but if you go with your Inara and or if you go with your Andro and you can just kind of laying pressure on the back, kind of forcing them behind corners, then Grover can't really peek. It's a lot easier if you're Rom. But yeah, like you're kind of just getting soloed right now by Victor. Doesn't look like he's gonna get out of this, but the game is paused. So
yeah, just to give them time to figure out how he is gonna
get out. Yeah,
with that, yeah, completely isolated in the back, no dash. He's pretty low, but on the other side of this pause, it's going to be a tough life for him trying to figure out how to recover here. But it looks like I heard Rampage, so I'm assuming he's dead, and Toez as well, actually. So Joe walked in and got that little bit of cleanup with Bon again, wasting time inside. Merc's coming to help him. If Stalingrad lives, it's going to end up working out for them, but this fight inside the mines is going in favor of Team Bobby, and Team Weimer just not contesting. I just do not like how they're playing this here. Soul gets another. They're going to let the card roll in, and I feel like they are just contesting the wrong side of the map consistently.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of just went for the all-in mines, and it didn't pay off. The gamble did not pay off. You didn't get the kills, and Inara just pushed the card in. Rather unfortunate. You get the Victor ult out. Maybe it's a consolation prize, but you kind of have to change up how you're playing. I mean, Merc Merc's not really getting anything done on the Andro. Maybe you send it somewhere else. Don't send him towards the Grover. But you definitely have to change something here, or else you're in danger of just going down 0-3.
Yeah, it might have to be just Merc playing. I mean, he's playing. It was Bon playing with Asdiv. It was Bon playing with the Andro, but they split, right? I think Bon just has to play close to Merc. Merc can't go off and do anything alone, more or less. So we'll see if they adapt how they're willing to change things up. They do have a comeback mechanic, though, so if they manage to get just a little bit of time up, it will stack up pretty quickly, but very difficult to make that happen into a Genos-boosted Victor as Team Weimer take a little bit of space early, but not too much, and Zin is actually holding the fort down.
Yeah, I mean, you see Merc kind of just taking 1v2 here, but Zin's doing a really good with holding 2 back, and ours actually an ult Merc and Con. Merc gets out, but that's still a lot of pressure in that fireside.
Yeah, the damage not really connecting the way they want it to as they hold here. Look at that overpower, though. It's on Genos, and they have to use the Accursed Arm to clean up on him. Merc gets his first 2 kills of this game, actually, as he's just hiding away from this Vic and Grover. Vic and Grover are under him, but he might be able to catch Seal isolated. The Whirlwind goes the other way to save the Inara, and they might have chose wrong. Joe does get a kill on Toa, so it works out for now, but Stalingrad caught out 4 kills for Merc so far in this fight. 5th here, with Joe not dying on the point. I think tough decision there, but he doesn't even find it. He misses near the end, and Joe will fall, but they give themselves a chance to refight this, even if it's without their tank.
Yeah, I mean, Asdif finishes the job for him, and it's still looking decent. You do get the overtime here from Mr. Hardfeeder. The Corvus still coming out, seemingly on the point. Not really any tanks here on the side of Bobby to touch, and yep, it's going to be a Weimer take cap.
Yeah, they waited to retouch the point, so the overtime didn't end up triggering to give them less time. I think it worked out perfectly. But so right now, catches Toa on top of Bleachers, with Merc trying to fight them above. I like how Weimer are approaching this fight a little bit better, but a Cataclysm comes in and cleans up a few, actually. Look at this collapse right now. From Team Weimer, from over the top comes Merc, from in the side came Asdif, and the tanks are cleaning up on everybody, leaving Feeder running away back to spawn.
Yeah, I mean, Team Weimer just starting off on a really good fight there. Able to get so much. You were able to just build your ults back up. And now, I mean, what do you have? Connell, you can play to get an early Connell here and go up 2-2, or you can just stay with the entire duration. We'll see what they choose to do. Seal actually finding Toa, sitting with a nade. But yeah, it's looking good so far for Team Bobby.
I think now you don't go over Connell. I think you really have to be careful of that, especially when you're 1 down. If you can equalize onto Feeder, maybe, but 2 more fall, and now Bonscott just running to his doom here with Joe contesting this objective. I'm not sure how much further they're willing to go here, but they should hold this high ground, right? The strong defensive position and make Weimer push into them.
I think hold this high ground. Maybe when the team starts showing up, they'll like to go back to the next choke and just hold the lower because of how fast this team comp can be on the side of Weimer. We'll see what they choose to do. Though Zen is turning back. Seal actually caught alone here. Yeah, that's like the most dangerous thing about playing that choke and why teams shoot to go back a lot of the time. So now they're looking for snowball.
I mean, it was just a disconnect, right? Seal just stood there and didn't run away when the rest of the team did, so just need better comms in that situation. But for now, Weimer can push off of that. They can play this. They get another pick there onto Joe, so no contest on the objective, and they can enable Toa a little bit in this bottom lane. But this Kinessa will make this... It really is kind of do or die on the Kin, but die is what the Kin will choose here. Toa gets caught in the barrage as Azdev keeps them knocked around inside these mines. This can still happen. They just have to be so careful about where these ultimates end up going. As they stack over there, Azdev's absorbing a lot of damage, but still no one on either side can find a kill yet.
Yeah, I think you got to be really careful what you spend here too. I mean, they missed Connell with best case scenario, so now he's at 60. I think you should try to farm that up. Maybe use like an Angel if Merc can find the kill, but you don't really want to spend a crazy amount just to go for 2-2.
Agreed, you want to hold on to at least a little bit of the resources, but they're so low, and Whirlwind is one they're willing to spend walled off. The team gets saved except for Feeder, who goes down. Cataclysm now. Bonska cleans up 2. Jukaskum will stun them out and keep them knocked back, and no one's going to run into contest this objective at this point. It's a 2-2 as Weimer manages to push that in there near the very end. I think just a great turnaround. Toa on the flank. They didn't expect it, and one of his 2 kills ended up being a very impactful one, as Toa's having a very tough game into this composition.
Yeah, really unfortunate stuff there at the end of that defense. But I mean, they're able to get the Whirlwind out and they're able to convert it with just like Rommel and Kinessel. So overall, looking pretty good for Weimer if they're able to just clean it up on the point fights. And it's not an even game. They're able to get Connell back. Bonscott. Probably look for something in the fire as well. They could NRL him again, but I think if you just get someone instantly, you're looking pretty good.
Yeah, I think Overpower is always... Anytime Overpower is on a team, it's going to be the most impactful ultimate for them. It has to be the one that connects if they want to really swing that fight in their favor. It's kind of just the reason you pick Khan. No other... I mean, he's a good bully, but there's better bullies. You pick Khan for the potential execute as they go. But a Seismic Crash came out, and I don't think it found anybody, as Team Weimer seems unfazed by it. But Bobby are just disengaging. They haven't lost anyone. So they might have a chance to come back in. But Team Bobby, they're playing so safe. They're playing off of Soul, and here comes the barrage to maybe make something else happen. It catches Toa, and this is going to be their chance to strike as the root is getting them so low up top.
Yeah, I mean, now Team Weimer is on the back foot here. They're all kind of stuck in fire, all kind of 1 HP, besides the Rom, but he's like the least important target there. 18%, 25%. Actually, gonna use the Zeno. I guess he is Yomi, right? So it's not too big of a deal, and they want to get that forward aggro as soon as possible. So overall, good use of the ults besides the Naro, which is a little unfortunate.
Yeah, agreed, but they're also letting Weimer play with several ultimates here, right? They have the Overpower, they have the Accursed Arm, but none of them are really retake ults. I mean, who are you looking to overpower here if you're Bond?
Should die?
No one.
No
is the answer.
Yeah.
Actually, just slightly mispositioned the Genos, I guess. They still have to be careful about this Kin, though. Toa is still up top, still applying a lot of damage. They kill one, it's still advantage in favor of Team Bobby. They clean everyone up by playing safe, and the mid that Weimer had last time was so far in the play of the Overpower, right? The Overpower is really what turned it around. When it doesn't connect, Weimer just cannot win the fight.
Yeah, I mean, excellent positioning from the Victor. I mean, Khan ulted that Geno, so you just beam him. You really can't get away with doing that unless you get the Victor. It just has too much damage. Just ult in the open like that.
Yeah, and the setup between the Grover and the Victor has been great here as well. Look at this cover usage by Merc, but unable to kill Seal. Just can't find the angle to get that Accursed Arm behind it. The Team Weimer now should be able to move forward and find some more kills and maybe stagger them out, but Pip and Angie are far enough back where they should be able to live through this, but the choke, the little bit of chip damage will force them away. But this is, again, a good hold. And does Weimer play to dive? Like, as soon as they get close, do you just dive into the back, or do you play it a little bit slower?
I think you play slower. I think you can get away with playing a little bit slow, try to get your ults back, just in case they do try to go for this convert here. I don't think you want to just go crazy and risk losing it all here.
I wonder what Joe's doing, though. He kind of ran in behind, he stuns them, and actually caught out is Merc here by Feeder. On this Zin, they will lose Joe on this Inara, but Feeder finds 2, will get a 3rd for sure. No, he missed! So unlucky! The heavy swing doesn't connect. That would have basically guaranteed this for them, but he's still in the middle of them pressuring. Toa, unable to hit these close range shots. One heavy swing will haunt Feeder for the rest of this game. Unfortunate. Fully healed, though, is still in the middle of their team, but Angie gets another kill. Let them keep the snowballing forward. Stalingrad getting pressured by Merc, but they have so much peel. Merc so low, does get the kill, but trades his life for it. But the advantage numbers-wise is still in favor of Bobby.
Yeah, I mean, good trades all around. Merc did his best there. I mean, getting the Grover there is pretty massive, but they still have a Genos, and I mean, the Zen in general just living that entire time. It's looking really good to set them up for a push here.
Yeah, for sure. If they can manage to stay kind of aggressive and in the middle of them, I think that's where their composition does thrive with the DPS that they have. Pip's got to be careful though. Feeder having to disengage from inside. That Xin got so much pressure on him. With Xin now diving in again, they need to trade one to at least make it even, but no more kills to be found there. Feeder, they have to back up if they want to live, but Merc, so much damage at range from this Androxus can clean up that Grover. And now Bobby, they're probably gonna have to play for a 3-3 at this point, honestly. They need their respawns to actually make this fight happen, because they're all about the damage dealers with the triple DPS comp, and they just don't have it.
Yeah, I mean, now your objective is Bobby should be just have a Nara touch, get a little bit of ult charge, a little bit of credits, but at the same time, you are giving Rom his ult charge, but maybe they'll still go for it. Actually, Zen goes for it. Kind of pays the price, but yeah, and I was gonna sit here, farm ult, should have it for the 3-3 point fight.
Yeah, for sure. They should just give up for it. 5 ults into 5 ults. You kind of just have to accept that at this point. But by extending the fight, you've given Merc way more credits. 897 now. Here, going to be 900 in time, so it could be... Well, what could we see here? I think the buy here is probably... Oh, you can only get 1, and Haven 2 is what Merc chooses. I was trying to decide what item I'd be going for here, but... I think how do you play this, right? If you're on, let's say, Team Weimer, is it really just the overpower that it is?
I think it is, and I think you just gotta play around fire again, maybe Quarry this time, and just go for the instant delete, maybe on Anara this time, because Anara keeps looking for a counter ult into like wherever the con is, and last time they were fortunate that it missed, but they were still able to clean up that fight just because they didn't get the overpower fast enough, and they were just able to shove in and just clear them out of fire.
Yeah, I think that could make sense. Just run your kill into your execute into whatever you need to be able to kill here. But Merc early will rush the right side, actually pretty aggressive, and Joe actually really early DR. Must have been because of the con, but they missed. Both ultimates tried to combo. They both missed. Merc's in the middle of them, but misses and dies. Rowan saves the entire team. Bobby is there sustained to stay alive. The Zen will get his spite eaten by the battle shout, but they're being so aggressive on Bonscott. He doesn't have a shield, but all this cap time now going in favor of Team Weimer. They give up a toe. The blink, it doesn't connect. It doesn't go all the way to high ground, and Theater will catch him, and Bobby will maintain control of the objective.
I mean, unfortunate but you see when the ops go for the aggro play, now you're still just sitting at 15% point time, so even though Toa misplayed there, they still have a chance here. They do get the Zen with the con roll, he's not burning fast enough, there he is, and now here's the full retake, 4v4, Toa should be coming back right now.
Yeah, they just can't contest the objective really though. I mean, Joe got a little bit of time, but has to run away. Look at that, the wall off. Asdif actually caught in. Asdif should die. Steel is not there, but the damage from the Grover is enough to make it happen, and neither team willing to cap here, with Bonscott just trying to delay. I don't know why Joe is fighting this for some reason. He needs to back up and get healed, but he's just wants to stare down Bond here. Ends up being a trade, but Bond just sitting here, getting his ult charge fed so hard by Team Bobby.
With this point percentage, he actually is going to have another one before this fight is even over with. So really good from Bonscott right now. They are trying to shove him out, but I mean, Dinar is kind of just like seemingly doesn't know what to go on here. I think the fight's kind of resetting a little bit. Bonscott is at 90% though. This overpower is going to be pretty huge in deciding who wins this fight, I think.
Yeah, for sure, especially if they manage to pull in Joe. But Weimer right now, Merc is on the far right side, contesting into Feeder, and the ults will come out here. Looks like the overpower actually killed Joe, and the barrage now coming in from above. Bobby's so low, but will escape. They need to come in, and they're going to have to honestly Vine Tech to touch here if they want to delay it. It is going to be Feeder going in and getting it, but Bobby loses Stalling Red, and now they have to figure out some way to extend the overtime.
Yeah, I mean, that overpower on the Joe, massive. Now, Red Team was actually able to get point fight after that, or point percentage after that. So it's looking like they're going to come away with this, and Ara is back on the plane, but they do have the Corvus still just beaming her, and her DR should be running out momentarily. And Merc is in the back on Sioran and Genos. That's it.
Yeah, the DR runs out, and my last name comes out supreme here in this matchup here. Team Weimer, I mean, 2 straight against Team Bobby. I thought Team Bobby's draft was solid. I thought it should have worked, but just some missteps there. I honestly think biggest one was Joe just taking so much damage. Genos and Grover were playing on the other side of the map. He couldn't afford to absorb all that damage, and he just hesitated way too much inside Quarry.
Yeah, it was kind of just like, I feel like he didn't know exactly how to get out of that or how to play that. And he ended up just giving Bonscott just so much free ult charge and almost actually died just straight up to Khan's left clicks. And I think just giving Khan another ult there, able to kill Joe again, just too important to have happen again.
with solo tank, when you lose that, it's just really impactful not having that tank. But I feel like, I mean, look at the stat lines. You look at this, I would not believe you if Bobby was if you told me Bobby had lost here. 16-6 for Feeder. I think a phenomenal game from him. Stalingrad definitely struggled, I think, a bit on the Grover, just from getting ran at by the tanks all game, but it almost ended up getting them the game in the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, really good from both sides. Just at the end, Bobby, they're kind of misplaying slightly more, and it led to the Weimer win. But still, I mean, both teams evenly matched. Really good comps on both sides. Merc having a rough game early on, but still just really came into it towards the end. So able to find the solo plays that he was missing the first half.
Almost ended up even out damaging Toa. It was really close there between the two of them. But I mean, damage is definitely heavily in favor of Team Bobby. Look at that, 154,000 for Seoul, 136,000 for the Zin running Yomi. Not even Guillotine for that big stat pad. Still, I think, a fantastic game from both teams here. I fully expect to see my name being completed in the finals in future weeks coming up here. These teams were both, I mean, at the top. I mean, Team Weimer was the team that won the previous North American Paladin Central Minor League in the closed bracket. Unfortunately, did not get to see it, but they were definitely the dominant team then, and they've been able to carry that forward here. I mean, do you have a lot of experience against this team in scrims? How would you say they fare against some of the PPC teams?
I think they're probably pretty on par with the lower two PPC teams, and then they can definitely take points and maps off like some of the better teams in like kind of middle of the pack. They're definitely solid players all around, and they definitely have like crazy strats that just no one in PPC really plays with, so it can always just like surprise you on an off day.
Man, it's part of like being fresher, I guess, and being hungry, right? To make it up there, you're willing to experiment. You're willing to expand your champion pool a little bit to find any edge that you can, and also just new blood with different pools, right? If you didn't live through the Cassie meta in earlier years, excuse me, then maybe you're willing to do that. But that was the PCML this week. It happens, of course, every week on Saturday. If you want to sign up and try to play, it's open bracket for next week, and it's open bracket for the week following. So hope you guys, if you want to compete, that is the way to do it. You can win crystals and you can win cash if you manage to be successful enough to make it to the final week. Also, do not miss the Thursday broadcast of the PPC. That's going to be at 1 Eastern Standard Time, or is it daylight time now? I actually am not sure, but we'll go with either, whatever. You can Google it and it will tell you exactly what you need to know. Shout outs to Hero. Thank you so much for coming here and helping me fill in and saving me another week of solo casting, because that would have been painful. Do you have any shout outs before we close up today?
No, just it was really fun being here. I mean, really good sets. I didn't really expect much coming in, but it was super fun being able to see these teams and cast. I mean, just check me out on Twitter and Twitch, I guess, at Hero.
At Hero. Well, it's the one under his name right now. It's
Hero.
It's already
on
there.
Twitch. Yeah.
Hero on Twitch. So definitely go check him out when he streams. Definitely ask him some questions about his team and watch his team play in the PPC, which we've already plugged. Thank you guys again so much for hanging out for the PCML. We will see you next time, and you can play Grab Rave right now, Jens.